Dr. Freeman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GameVerse Podcast. It's been about a year. Oops. John decided to disappear, but that's okay. We got a new guy. He's right here. But let's introduce ourselves in a specific order. So, hi, I'm Ryan, aka Casanova Creed. Below me is
Nicholas, or Silenttelecast.
And then over here is
Kyle or Space Knot.
Yep. And so John's gone. Kozis decided to just literally disappear. I hadn't heard from him for months, and then he came back the other day. But he's focusing on his career more than his hobbies, which is understandable. But we're gonna go ahead and talk about some things today. And we're going to open it up with a problem that everybody fucking hates in the tech world, and that is the fucking semiconductor shortage, because you can't find anything anywhere! So, Kyle, just go ahead, spill your thoughts after, looking for a PS5 for months.
Well, actually, I want to start with something a little bit different than that. In the field that I work in, we actually talked about this at our last meeting. The semiconductors being, kind of missing, or shortage, actually. Vehicles take semiconductors for the computers, right?
Yeah.
So GM has actually built, I think it was 8,000 brand new vehicles without computers, just waiting for computers to come in.
I think I heard about that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They're just sitting in a lot, and they're
I've seen pictures of this. There's just like football fields worth of just cars just sitting, unable to be driven.
No computers in them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, they just got some in, so they're starting to, fix up the car, get it running so they can start selling more. But that's one of the main issues with semiconductors. No one really understands that everything takes semiconductors.
Computer-wise.
Oh yeah, any kind of computer.
From your toaster to your alarm clock to your even your phone chargers have small computers in them.
Mm-hmm.
Everything uses semiconductors, and it sucks because in terms of we all like to play games, and we are all into PC gaming and shit like that. And PC gaming graphics cards are very low on the list of priority because a lot of other things the militaries of the world need semiconductors for a lot of what they do, and then so does healthcare. Heartbeat, IV kits, or what is that called? The thing that they hook you up to. Don't pull the plug. I don't know. I haven't been to a hospital in a long time.
I don't know. Everything that deals with technology requires semiconductors.
Yeah.
So to have a shortage, it's not good.
And I don't want to say the name of the virus, but the virus is the reason that we're in the current semiconductor shortage that we are, because I think personally it was a perfect storm of, everything shut down, and I think how many actual places manufacture semiconductors? It's TSMC and Intel. Is that it?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
There's not a lot of companies that even make these things, right? And a lot of them are in China. And China's where everything started back in late 2019.
March.
So basically those places started to close down at the same time that AMD had new CPUs and GPUs coming out. Nvidia had new GPUs coming out. Microsoft had the new Xboxes coming out, and Sony had the new PS5s coming out on top of all the other electric cars and everything. And so a lot of the semiconductors we had, I feel were just sitting in warehouses ready to be built into something, but those warehouses were closed. And then they were also not mining anymore. So it's they got through that stock that they had, and then everything's gone, and we just haven't caught up yet. We're lagging behind.
Yeah.
Demand is so much higher than current supply. It's insane.
Yep. And it's exactly that. They went through their surplus, what they had in the stockpile. They went through that so fast.
Well, it's because everybody had to just start working from home. Everybody needed webcams and computers and microphones and laptops, and some people even got standing desks and shit to work from home, and those have computers in them.
But it's also shouldn't the companies who create semiconductors invest more possibly currently to produce more? So that we get out of this shortage quicker.
So quicker is all relative. It's not going to be quick as in within the next few months. Because I believe I heard that Intel is actually working on opening up more factories to produce more semiconductors, but the factories aren't going to open up until early 2023 because they have to build an entire factory.
Years to build.
Yeah, but
Yep.
it
They
sucks
don't
that
pop
we're
up
in this.
instantly.
Yeah.
So I mean,
You know, it really sucks that we're in this current position, especially right at the heel of the launch of the next generation of consoles, like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. Like, it sucks because so many people wanted to get a PS5 and just have the money and just can't.
Now, here's another question. Do you think with next gen, like GPUs, maybe in like 2 or 3 years, do you think that will also be affected with the shortage? Or do you think it'll be resolved in 3 years?
So I think that the next generation of GPUs and CPUs we would have got are going to come out later than they were originally planned to because of this.
Yeah.
So I feel like
be delayed.
Yeah, so if RTX 4000 or whatever the next series of NVIDIA graphics cards is called eventually comes out, I think it may have been originally planned to launch in 2022. It might not come out till 2023 or 2024 because of this shortage.
Yeah, that might be for the best though, because it would give them more time to develop some of just the technology in general to make them a little bit faster.
Yeah. And then more expensive. That's another thing that I hate about the current situation we're in is the scalping and all the even like I don't even blame the businesses for doing this, but some like businesses are selling the specific units like graphics cards like a 3080, 3090, 3060, 3060 Ti, 3070 above MSRP because they want to prevent scalpers from trying to buy that, but then the store is scalping the price of the cards.
Well, to be honest, I don't think they're trying to stop scalpers by doing that. They're trying to get more money themselves. They don't care about the scalpers. They want more money, more profit.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like morally, it comes down to like just morality and business because morally you want actual customers who will enjoy your product and use your product for the way it was intended to get their hands on your product. But financially, like, hell yeah, dude, we sold through all of our stock of, X graphics card, but no actual like users getting their hands on them. And like I heard that it's actually a problem with Sony that like console manufacturers take a loss on the sale of the console. And when they take that loss, they usually recuperate a lot of their money, their lost revenue through digital transactions. You buying games on the PlayStation Store, you buying a subscription to PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now or whatever. But the problem is a lot of the current like stock of PS5s have been purchased by scalpers and they're just sitting around not making Sony that money back. So I don't know if Sony's actually going to do anything about it, but I feel like that could prompt Sony to try their best to circumvent scalping. Because, I mean, I remember when the PlayStation 5 launched, so many people tried to log on to so many different websites like Walmart and Best Buy and B&H and Newegg, and a lot of the websites just crashed. Like,
but
it was a disaster.
There's no effective way to stop scalpers.
Yeah. I personally think scalping should be illegal. I think MSRP should be the peak price of any item.
Well, isn't it illegal in certain industries?
Maybe. Is it illegal, Kyle? Do you know if scalping's illegal in the automotive industry?
Not even automotive, but like concert tickets.
It's not.
Well, so go ahead, Kyle.
I don't remember, but no, it's not in the automotive world.
Okay, yeah, because like with concert tickets, I know like you could. It's hard to stop scalping though because you get the people who buy the tickets for MSRP and then go to the concert and wait outside and try to sell them at a hike. Like, how are you supposed to stop those guys from doing it?
It's difficult. You can't.
Yeah, and I hate how scalping is just the norm. I enjoyed when scalping was just reserved to like fancy tennis shoes and concert tickets because I always buy my concert tickets the day they come out to not worry about that. But yeah, I mean like some people are selling PlayStation 5s for like upwards of like $1,400. And the problem with that is that people are also buying them for that price. That's what pisses me off.
It's also about just like PS5 stock in general and stocks of like GPUs out there. There's a shortage of everything.
Yeah.
So if there wasn't a shortage, then we'd have enough supply to meet the demand, and scalping would kind of die down.
Yeah, it's the. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
No, you go ahead, Kyle. Oh,
since we're on the topic of scalping, I actually just loaded up a website that I used to track for a PS5 since I was looking at buying one. Xbox X or the Series X and S, PlayStation 5, PS4, Xbox One, all out of stock across the board. But Nintendo Switch, Switch Lite, and their handhelds, it's scarce on what's in stock. Like I think the Switch, there's 3 or 4 that are in stock, but they're all bundles that are going for almost $1,000.
Good lord!
Yeah.
So they're pretty much still being scalped. They're just being scalped by.
Well, I mean,
the
they might not
retailer
necessarily
itself,
being scalped. They could have $1,000 of value. Like it could be a Switch with 6 games and 2 Pro controllers. You know?
Yeah. Like, the 3DS and the 2DS XL. Half of them that are on here out of stock. The other half that are in stock are double, triple the price of the handheld itself, and it retails for what, like $130?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
What are they doing with 3DSs? Like,
I don't know.
Well, it's just parents who have their kids stuck at home now, and like I know we're at the tail end of this whole situation, and I feel like it's going to be resolved within the next year, like almost entirely. Hopefully, with the way that things are rolling out, at least in the United States, for the most part, things are going to go back to normal within the next 6 to 12 months. But I think the problem is that so many people were stuck at home, and this goes back to the problem with the semiconductor shortage, is just that, you know, your kid's stuck at home and he has nothing to do, but he can't bother you because you're working from home and you're on meetings and stuff. So you can't find a Nintendo Switch anywhere. You can't find an Xbox S or X anywhere. So you buy him a 3DS, and you spend as much on the 3DS as you would have spent on a brand new Switch before the pandemic hit.
Or they do something different and just pay the upmarked price.
Yeah.
And then they promote scalping.
Yeah, no, there's really no way to get around it, and it sucks because at the end of the day, most companies, I think, would want their consoles to get into the hands of like the people who, like, maybe not the suits trying to sell the console, but the people who made the console would want the console to go towards people who want to play it. Yeah. You know, people probably put a lot of their passions and poured their heart into these new consoles, and then most of the stock's just sitting around in scalpers' basements.
Yeah, because like they get the money, like you said, Sony itself doesn't make a lot of money off PS5 sales. They make it off the digital sales. So if they're just sitting in a warehouse somewhere, they're not making any money off of that unit.
No.
So even the people in suits want PS5s to go to the end user.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, like the PS5 has drastically outsold the PS4 in its first launch week. The PlayStation is rolling off of that momentum from the success of the PlayStation 4. Because, like, do you guys remember the Microsoft like E3 2013 demo where they're like, every game has DRM on it, and if you put your disc into your console, it can't be played on anybody else's console. And then Sony came out and they did that video where the head of Sony gave a disc to the head of PlayStation, and like, this is how you shared games on Sony. And he just handed him the disc. Because like Microsoft, I remember would like, or in 2013, they wanted to be like your all-in-one entertainment system, which, you know, every console now, like even the Nintendo Switch has YouTube and Netflix on it. Like, like my PlayStation
with Hulu.
Yeah, my PlayStation 5 has Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO, Star, like whatever I want to watch on it. And most people nowadays have smart TVs anyway, because you can get a 4K Vizio, 50-inch smart TV for like $150. Like most people have all that all-in-one entertainment stuff already like in their homes. And Xbox made a huge push for that in 2013, and Sony just shot just way above the
They
Xbox.
Just curb stomped them, honestly.
Yeah. And like,
like you were saying, I have a Switch. I've had it since almost day one. I remember when it first came out, there was nothing on it. I'm like, oh my god, Nintendo really did a flop. They didn't have YouTube. They didn't even have a web browser to access anything. And all of a sudden, they added Hulu. And from there, now you have YouTube, Netflix, Hulu. I think they're adding Spotify soon, just like all the other consoles have.
Yeah. And like my point here is that Microsoft was very much high on the success of the Xbox 360. And while the PlayStation 3 did eventually beat out the Xbox 360, Microsoft was riding that high thinking, we're Microsoft and people will like what we do. But I think right now Sony's making not the exact same mistake in terms of what they're doing, but Sony's making a similar mistake with the PlayStation 5. So I'm going to go ahead and jump a little bit further down on our list to Sony makes developers pay for crossplay. And Sony is currently riding the high of the success of the PlayStation 4, and they're starting to fuck up a little bit. Because if you guys have heard, it's a small indie game. Maybe you haven't heard of it. It's called Fortnite, that one game that's free and everybody has at least played once. You can play it on your iPad, on your iPhone, you can play it on your... Do people still have Windows phones? Is Fortnite on the Windows phone? I don't know.
No, it's not on the Windows phone.
Okay, well, you can play it on iOS.
I have a Lumia 920 on there. It doesn't have it.
Yeah, so you can play it on iOS. You can play it on Android OS. You can play it on your Mac. You can play it on your PC. You can play it on your your iPad, you can play it on your Nvidia Shield, you can play it on your Google Stadia. Like, you can play Fortnite pretty much anywhere, even on a Nintendo Switch, PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S. I hate that naming scheme, but you can play Fortnite anywhere, right? And so Epic Games is just like, hey, we have this game everywhere. Let's enable crossplay. So even if the player base starts to dwindle on each individual console, there's still a lot of people in total playing the game. But Sony does not like crossplay. There is an article from Eurogamer.net claiming that Sony makes developers pay a cut to have PlayStation players play a game crossplay with other consoles. And because of this, Borderlands 3 is about to get a crossplay update between Xbox, Switch, and PC, but it's not going to include Sony because Gearbox is like, you know what? Fuck you, Sony. We're not biting that bullet. We'll do fine without you.
But that's the right choice for them to make because they don't want to promote Sony doing that.
Yeah.
If they did bite the bullet and be like, okay, we're going to have our game on the PS5, then they're just biting the bullet and saying that it's okay. And other developers are going to follow them.
Yeah. But do you think in any stretch of the imagination, Sony is in the right here to make people pay? Because like if one of my biggest pet peeves about being on the Xbox 360 when I was younger is that I had friends who had PlayStation 3s, and then a game like Call of Duty Black Ops 1 would come out, but we couldn't play that together, even though we each had the game and we each had it on different systems. You just couldn't queue Xbox Live with PlayStation Network, but it was always so stupid to me because of Wi-Fi. Internet is internet. Why not?
I mean, here's a great comparison. Grand Theft Auto 5 still doesn't have crossplay.
Yeah,
that baffles me. But like, I think that Epic Games, or not Epic Games, Gearbox officially stated what they did because of. I'm going to jump around here a little bit because I feel like this is a good transition, but I feel like Epic Games is doing what they're doing with not biting the bullet because that information leaked during the Epic Games versus Apple press conference. There was a document that leaked about Fortnite being crossplay and basically having to pay for Fortnite to be crossplay on Sony. Mm-hmm. And so that information leaked during the Apple v Epic trial that was going on, but I don't want to go quite into that yet. We're going to talk about that later. But yeah. So Kyle, what is your opinion on the situation? Do you think that Sony should make people pay to do crossplay? Because I think it's stupid.
Well, no, they shouldn't. But I personally feel like it's a way to make their money back from what they did with the PS3, where they offered online networking for free when Xbox was charging for it. They're trying to recoup their losses from back then.
But I also think it's up to Sony to make that decision. Like if they want to,
it is up to Sony.
Decision, like that's their choice. If they're gonna, because obviously they've done some research and they see that more developers are gonna pay them than like how much they're gonna lose from it. So obviously there's something that they're gaining from doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So while the consumer, like us, the gamers, are going to dislike it and the developers are going to dislike it, Sony's just looking at the money, that they can make more money from the developers implementing crossplay into their games.
Yeah. But I just think the whole situation's stupid. I think I've always dreamed of, like, back to what I was talking about before, about being on the Xbox 360, being able to boot up Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and play with my friend on PC and play with my friend on the PlayStation. I always thought it would be fun. And it never made sense to me why you couldn't do it. And like, sure, they would have to tune the servers to be able to get network access from each individual, like, kind of console. But like at the same day, internet's internet, servers are servers, and they're doing it today because, I think it's basically because of Fortnite. Like, what's a game that was crossplay before Fortnite?
Well, hold up. So I also think it's because of the optimization between each platform, though. Like Xbox games are completely different than computer games.
Yeah.
Computer games are completely different than PS5 games.
Yeah.
They have to be optimized to work together. And that cost a lot of money on both Sony's part and the developer's part.
Okay.
To make sure that the game can be cross-platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if I want to ask this, if you think developers start to bite the bullet and pay Sony or Microsoft or Xbox to implement crossplay, do you think games are going to become more expensive?
Actually, that's not a topic that I wrote down, but thank you for bringing that up because this is something I want to talk about. So, on the PlayStation 5, and remember, Sony's also the company that's charging you.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation 5 first-party exclusive games are $70. They are $69.99 to be able to get your hands on Returnal for the PlayStation 5, that new chaotic game that I really don't know what genre it is considered under. And then if you want to get the Last of Us 3, if that ever comes out on the PS5, I don't know how they're going to fix that train wreck of The Last of Us 2. But if The Last of Us 3 ever comes out to the PS5, it's going to be $69.99. Like, that is the price of the Ratchet and Clank game that's coming out later next month. Like,
Are all those exclusives?
yeah, they're all first-party Sony exclusives, and they're all $69.99. And some developers are following suit and making their Sony version, like the PlayStation 5 version of a game, be $69.99. So
Well,
Call of
maybe
Duty
that's
Black
because
Ops
of
Cold
this.
War on the PlayStation 5 is $69.99.
Maybe that's the price that the developers are having to recoup from paying Sony for crossplay.
I'm going to look up
That's
this.
$10.
So
I don't know.
Ryan, I happened to just Google all crossplay or cross-platform games that are out right now, and just reading through it real quickly, I noticed that there are a few that are older than Fortnite.
Okay.
Like the not the Java edition of Minecraft, but the Microsoft version of it.
Oh, yeah, the
when you get from the store?
Bedrock. Yeah.
Yeah, Bedrock. It's on Xbox One, PS4, Switch, PC, and mobile, all
I
cross-platform.
wonder if Sony made Mojang pay for that. I mean, Mojang could take the hit. Minecrafters made them billions.
A lot of
Oh,
money.
yeah, and it's been sold to Microsoft, so I mean,
So I know I play a
Who
game
knows?
called War Thunder, and from what I
Yes.
heard back in the day, a little bit ago, that if you were on the computer and you played with Xbox players, you would not be playing with PlayStation players. But if you were playing with PlayStation players, you weren't playing with Xbox players.
Oh
So you
my
could
god,
do
I
one or the
remember
other.
something about that with another game. I don't remember what it was, but there was another game that has crossplay that was like that.
And that's mainly because of the rivalry, I guess, from Sony and Microsoft.
Yeah.
So actually, because of that, I just remembered that this was a problem a few years ago with Fortnite when it first was released console-wide.
It was Fortnite that did that same thing, right?
No,
Okay.
Fortnite had an issue. If you logged in, I think it was on either your Switch or the PlayStation. I don't remember. You couldn't log in on a PC or an Xbox without making a new account because it would be bound to
What?
that account. I think it was on the Switch.
What? That's ridiculous.
That
Yeah, I
doesn't
know. I
make
remember
sense.
reading about it.
It was
I was
bound
like, really?
console.
Huh.
And same thing with Rocket League also. I think if you log in on the Switch, it's something to do with Nintendo. If you log in on their console with your account, it binds it to that product, and you
Weird.
cannot log in on a PC or the other consoles. It was a real big issue because I'm a big fan of Rocket League, and I would enjoy to be playing it on the go, but I don't want to risk logging into it and not being able to play it on my PC or on my console whenever I wanted to, or on my PlayStation.
Yeah, so I just pulled up Sony's excuse of why
Excuse.
the game should be $70, right?
Mhm.
So, reflective of the growing development resources needed for these ambitious games should cost up to $10 more than the normal MSRP of $59.99 to make up for the basically
So I'm yawning.
the increased resources it takes to develop bigger and crazier games.
Okay,
Do
so
you
let's
agree
go
with that
to-
statement?
I don't agree with it, but maybe inflation-wise.
See,
Like,
that's the
we're-
thing about games. Like, games have not really adjusted for inflation. They've stayed
Yeah.
the same in price.
I completely disagree with that statement. I'm currently loading up Steam to read the name of a game that I've recently been intrigued on playing. It is called, if I can find it, Operation Harsh Doorstop.
What the heck is that?
It's a game to combat Battlefield and Call of Duty, made by Drackling Industries.
Sounds already pretty interesting. What's it called again?
Operation Harsh Doorstop.
I'll have to look that up.
I got early access to it by subscribing to their Patreon. That's a whole another deal that we need to talk about another time. But it's supposed to be a very similar type of gameplay to Battlefield, where it has large combat, and Call of Duty now has that similar deal.
What is there? Theirs is like it's not Warzone or Plunder. It's like their what is that game mode called in Modern Warfare? Like it's their Battlefield knockoff.
But here's the thing: this game is being developed by a guy who just said, "Hey, let's develop free games." But ISMC, Insurgency Sandstorm modding collaboration, came on board to help make the game completely free.
Damn.
Yeah, the people who made the modding community for Insurgency Sandstorm came alongside and said, "Hey, let's develop this together."
Huh.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and it's based on Unreal
crazy.
Engine 4.
That's absolutely insane.
Holy crap.
I can actually I'll send you guys the link.
All right. Well, I'm going to transition really quickly into a topic that we don't have written down, but what Kyle just said kind of made me think about this. So, I've heard a couple I wouldn't really necessarily call them industry analysts, but I've just heard some people talk about how video games are going to move to a more subscription-based, kind of like Netflix, streamlined entertainment deal. Like, you pay for the Steam package and you get access to Steam's library of games. Rather than having to buy each individual game, you pay an annual subscription fee of $150 or $200. And you get access to the Steam library of games.
Yeah, it really depends on how many games that is, because $150 is a lot of money per year.
But if you get access to everything on Steam.
So like Origin,
worth it, I think. Like literally if you could do every game on Steam. But the problem with that is that like how do the developers get paid out of that $150?
Yeah, that's like a lot of people are speculating that the video games industry is going to move to more of a games as a service kind of like deal, like even to the point like Stadia tried to do where there's not even any physical hardware anymore. It's just all in the cloud. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you support the idea of cloud gaming? Because I personally like to have that beefy gaming rig in my room directly connected to everything. Yeah. I like to have my 3090 physically here with me, not off in some Google warehouse,
I don't really have a preference for that because, like, if you want one of those rigs, go out, buy, and make a rig. If you don't, then you can subscribe to cloud-based service. Mm-hmm. It's up to the consumer to choose which one they want. And it's exactly like that. It's exactly to like how, let's say Steam starts a subscription base, people should still be able to buy the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I actually use a couple of those streaming services. I tried out Shadow to see how it was, like you said, where your computer's off in just a network somewhere that you're accessing to. I don't really see that would be very good and viable because, I mean, yeah, you can stream like high-end games off of it, but I've also used PS Now and it used to be called Origin Access, but I think it's EA Play, where you subscribe to their service and you have access to a plethora of games that they have chosen at a very decent price. Mm-hmm. I enjoy that personally because, say, there's a game that I want to play that doesn't come out yet. Say I don't have the money at the time, but I'm paying yearly for this. I can play it at my own time that I choose. But I don't have to dump, say, $60 on the game. And if I don't like it, I don't have to own the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So my problem with Origin Access, aka EA Play or whatever it's called now, is that there were some games that I liked that were originally on EA Play when it first launched that got removed. And that is my problem with these subscription-based games. Because, like, there was a game, I can't remember exactly what game it was, but it was on EA Play, and I played it, and then it was taken away. I could not play that game anymore.
I feel like that's the point of EA Play, though. If you play a game and you like it, and they remove it, then go on and buy the game. If you truly like it, you'd be willing to spend the money.
I thought the point of EA Play was to spend a yearly fee for just the best EA. Like I think you get all the EA Sports games and all the Battlefield and all the
and Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Some other games like Vampires on here or Frostpunk.
I don't know. I feel like a subscription base like that, like EA Play, it's kind of like they're selling it for you to dip your feet into the game, and if you like it, then pay for the game to support the development of the game.
Then what about Xbox Game Pass?
Ooh, I actually have that also.
Into that, so
I'm a subscription guy.
Yeah. What is your opinion on Xbox Game Pass then, Kyle? Because like that is Microsoft's attempt at making the games as a service become a reality, because a big portion of Microsoft's back catalog is in Xbox Game Pass and can be played on either I don't think the Xbox 360 has it, but the Xbox One or the Xbox Series both have access to Game Pass, and even on PC. But PC's not, it doesn't have everything that the actual console does.
So here's the thing. Game Pass allows, I think it's 100 plus games, whatever. Theirs is a lot like EA Play, where they cycle a lot of the smaller games or less played ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking right now, both on Origin and on Xbox. They have Secret Neighbor and Knockout City. Don't know very much about the games. I know about Neighbor, but they're on both of them.
Okay.
But they're on the list of recently added. And what they happen to do is some of them will stay and some of them will leave. Like, where's the leaving soon? We have things like Surviving Mars, which leaves on the 1st. Literally in, 2 days. So the problem with it is they're always continuously cycling the smaller games out, but their bigger games, like
Halo,
or their curated games, always stay. Like, I have Microsoft Flight Simulator and ReCore through Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah,
it's never left. I can always replay it whenever
you bring up Flight Simulator. I wanted to play Flight Simulator 2020 when it first came out because everybody was talking about, like, oh my god, these graphics are insane. But I didn't. Yeah. I've never played a Flight Simulator game before, so I didn't want to drop $60 on it on Steam. So I got like the $1 tryout Game Pass for 3 months thing, and it was literally $1, and I played Flight Simulator for 3 months.
I'm literally staring at that right now. But now it includes EA Play.
Yeah, no. When did that happen? When did that merger happen? It was recently.
Geez. EA has reached out to, what is it? Steam, Xbox, and I think Epic also, where you can do a subscription of EA Play along with their subscription service.
I genuinely think EA is trying to fix their reputation after the colossal.
They really are.
Because like Battlefield 5 flopped, and then EA was voted like the worst company. Like after the Star Wars Battlefront 2, like they had 2 colossal failures. I mean, Mass Effect Andromeda, Star Wars Battlefront 2 loot box debacle, and then Battlefield 5 flopping, and Anthem. Like EA is not doing too hot right now. Like Battlefield 6 needs to fucking blow us away because EA is struggling at the moment. I don't think they are actually, because all the people who spend $2,000 on card packs and FIFA are keeping that company afloat. But like in terms of their actual like blockbuster heavy hitter shooter games, like Anthem was I mean, it was fun for the first 2 hours, but then it was the same thing over and over and over and over and over again.
I remember when I was really excited for Anthem.
Dude, I remember when we were all excited for Anthem.
No, EA has really like dropped the ball recently.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? If you go play Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1 right now, nothing. Go play Battlefield 4. Look how active that community is.
Yeah, no, I know. And like Kyle and I think Nick, you played like 2 or 3 months ago. We were on like a Battlefield 1 kick where we played Battlefield 1 for a little bit, but there was like a couple servers that were active. And like I have Battlefield 5. I have it through EA Access, but like I haven't touched that game pretty much since the month it came out. And it's not even a bad game. Like it feels fun to play, but they didn't handle it correctly. Like Battlefront 2 was a flop because they built everything around that loot box and RNG system, and then when they removed the RNG system, and the game just wasn't balanced. And then they added a bunch of like, I will give them props in the Battlefront 2 because they added so much stuff to that game for free. And I love the direction that we're heading into. We're heading into buy the game once, and some companies are giving us free DLC. I love free DLC because my biggest pet peeve on the Xbox 360 was when I got a map pack for Call of Duty, but my friend couldn't afford it. And so we're playing multiplayer together, and then we have to leave the lobby because he's like, oh shit, I don't have that map. I'm like, okay, I'll back us out.
Here's another thing that I completely forgot about. Titan 2. Great games when they were out.
Mm-hmm.
But then they came out with Apex on the same platform. Except it's a battle royale.
Well, I think Apex is different than Titanfall. Also,
but it's on the same engine and it uses the same storyline. What sucks is go and try and play Titanfall 2 right now. You won't
Sure.
find anyone.
Actually,
They're
that's
all
not
too
that's not
good.
true.
That's not true.
Titanfall
I
2 recently had a huge surge.
Yeah,
It's
Titanfall
literally
2.
because of the internet was like, hey, Titanfall 2 is a good game, and it became a meme like within the last 2 or 3 months, and then Titanfall 2's like player base has spiked because of it.
Also because
That's when it
Titanfall
came to
3, I think,
Steam.
has been confirmed.
It came to Steam, and that's why it surged so much.
That's also true. That's another thing that Origin is doing well. Like for so long, I hated EA because EA would just be like, "Is this good for the player?" But then release crappy unfinished games like Anthem and then Mass Effect Andromeda, and give us a trailer for Battlefield 5 with a female soldier on the front lines of World War II with a robotic arm, and then wonder why nobody plays the game. Bad first impression. First impressions fucking matter. About entertainment and about people, you know. If the first time you meet me, I'm covered in barbecue sauce, you're gonna think I'm a weird ass motherfucker. Like,
I mean,
that's
you
just the
are,
reality.
but-
Shut up. That's just the reality of it, though. Like, first impressions matter, and if you make a bad first impression with your like global debut trailer for your next blockbuster game, and people see a completely like you're making a World War II shooter with a redheaded female with a bionicle arm, no wonder people are like, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
How
It's
is
also
Anthem
launch
doing
day,
right now?
like Cyberpunk. Launch day in Cyberpunk, full of bugs.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
don't
You
even get
hardly
me
run
started.
it.
Okay, like I'm
Like-
actually like in the background, I'm working on a video essay, and I've been working on this for a couple of months now. But like the video games industry is a joke over the last 5 years. I'm sick and
releasing-
tired of AAA multi-million-dollar studios with 50 to 100 people working on a project at a time, releasing a game broken. If it's not
That's
ready,
right.
don't push it out.
Yeah.
I would have waited another 2 years for Cyberpunk if Cyberpunk could have been everything they promised.
But it's
And-
also
Oh.
not the developers themselves. Who
Yeah,
wanna push it.
it's
the
the
guy who wants-
suits.
Yeah, like the people who want the money. Like,
I mean,
But
which
like-
makes sense.
I
I
because you
think
can't-
personally, they should not have released Cyberpunk on the Xbox One from 2013 and the PlayStation 4 from 2013. Like the original consoles. Like think about what graphics card was the most highest end graphics card in 2013. Like what? The GTX 980 Ti?
No, that was a 7.
yeah, it was the highest was a 790, I think.
Yeah, so
790.
they developed
780
Cyberpunk for a console that came out the same generation. The 790 came out, and the 790 was better than the graphics card in the original PlayStation 4 and the original Xbox. And they put too much time. Like I understand why they did it because there's 100 million PlayStation 4s out there. That's 100 million potential sales. Like I understand why they wanted to do it, but it just really hurt the quality of the actual game. Because they spent so much time, and at the end of the day, it didn't even fucking work on the PlayStation 4. They took it off of the PlayStation Store. Like
Hey, let's round back to Sony real quick and Hello Games and No Man's Sky.
what about it? Oh yeah,
What happened there? Yeah,
yeah.
it was the
Sony
same
fucking
kind of
rushed
flop.
out No Man's Sky before it was ready for release. But props to Hello Games. I know that game got so absolutely trashed on, but
Oh, yeah.
they stuck with it. Like No Man's Sky now is worth the $60.
If CD Projekt Red does the same thing that Hello Games does with Cyberpunk, would you kind of appreciate Cyberpunk again?
Yes, I definitely would. And at the same time, like I'm one of the very few unfortunate people to have an RTX 3090 in my computer. I could run Cyberpunk with no problem. I didn't have any crashes. I didn't have any bugs. Like Cyberpunk ran beautifully. The only bug I ever had was I have this up on my YouTube video too. Cyberpunk 2077, but bullets don't work because for some reason the hitbox on everything just got disabled. So I was
even
playing,
with the
and I
3070 was fine.
and I was playing the game, and I was shooting everybody, and I was killing a lot of people, and then I get to a new area, and I pull out my katana, and I start slashing an enemy, but he's walking by, and then he turns, and he starts shooting at me, and I'm not taking any damage, and he's not taking any damage. So that's the only like actual game-breaking bug, and I thought it was funny.
So,
Well,
you go. Kyle.
I mean, you're talking about being able to run Cyberpunk. I, at the time, had a 2070. I have now upgraded a little bit. But I know not everyone's as technically inclined as like myself, but I had bugs that I was able to fix myself, surprisingly. Like I had a
Yeah.
graphical error where it would just crash the game. Figured out what was wrong with it, deleted the file, recached the game, let it all fix itself. And it worked after like 3 or 4 tries, but I don't feel like I should have to do that with a
Yeah.
AAA game.
Mhm.
The problem with Cyberpunk, and this is what I really, really respect, like Bethesda and Rockstar for. Rockstar has not said a goddamn thing about Grand Theft Auto 6, and Bethesda has not said a goddamn thing about the Elder Scrolls 6, other than we're working on it. It's gonna come out, but Cyberpunk 2077 was teased in 2012, and it didn't come out till 2020.
They also overpromised. The same thing that kind of happened with No Man's Sky.
Yeah, they overpromised, and like I feel like Cyberpunk, if they would have announced it in 2020 with the progress they had made from 2012 up to 2020, and then released it in like 2024, it would have been such a better game. But they talked about it too early, and the reason why I'm kind of hesitant to think that CD Projekt Red will go the Hello Games route is because No Man's Sky is the only game that Hello Games has made that's worth a damn, other than like Joe Danger. But like nobody plays Joe Danger, nobody cares.
Hey,
and so the problem with CD Projekt Red is that they have The Witcher 4 coming, and they're working with Netflix with the Witcher TV series, and they have another Witcher installment on the way that's already being worked on. So they have to have most of their pistons firing towards the new Witcher game. You know, Cyberpunk's out. Fix it if you can, but like The Witcher is their next main priority, because The Witcher 4 is a game that's hopefully going to come out good and fixed. But then again, The Witcher 3 came out buggy and they fixed it. But at the same time, you know, CD Projekt Red has another major blockbuster franchise that they need to pump another game out for, you know? That's why my point is that CD Projekt Red is just going to allocate a small team to fix Cyberpunk because they need manpower for the next whole ass Witcher game.
Even a small team working on Cyberpunk is probably bigger than the team that Hello Games had working on No Man's Sky.
I mean, yeah, Hello Games started out with like 6 people or like 5 people.
I think Cyberpunk's gonna get fixed. It's just gonna take.
But here's my problem. It shouldn't have to be fixed.
Exactly.
I hate this whole fucking notion of let's just get the game out the door and fix it later. Anthem, Cyberpunk, Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm so sick and tired of, like, back in my day on the Xbox 360, first of all, the game just was on the disc. Nowadays on the PlayStation, you put your disc in the PlayStation and then you still have to download the game. What? Like, what's the point of buying the disc version of a game if you still have to download the game onto your PlayStation to be able to play it? Just get a digital version of the console.
Hey, I have a disc copy of Modern Warfare 3 for the PS3.
I have that for the Xbox 360 somewhere. But, like...
Somewhere I have my collection of the PC edition of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, like, back in my day, you could fit the entire game on the disc and then, like, post-released patches of the era of, like, the Xbox 360 and PS3 and below, so PS2 and the original Xbox and then like the Nintendo DS and Wii and all that stuff. Before 2013, when games came out, they came out done. There was not really, like, sure, there were updates, but the updates would be like a couple hundred megabytes, and they would fix maybe like an audio error or like a visual glitch where like the sky turned purple for some reason. But companies released finished games, and I understand that, like, you know, we have higher end hardware and people expect the games to be bigger and better. But what happened to releasing the game when it's done? Like, if Halo 3 came out finished, why did Halo 5 launch broken? If Mass Effect 1 came out finished, why is Mass Effect Andromeda coming out broken? And the excuse is like, oh, but people expect higher expectation. But the technology you're working with has also improved.
Why are games getting so large nowadays? That's my question.
RTX.
Yeah, dude, poor console players in terms of just like large file sizes. Like, if you have Call of Duty Modern Warfare with the Spec Ops and the, like, if you have the entirety of Modern Warfare installed on your PS5 and the entirety of Cold War installed on your PS5, you might have room for bug stacks. Like,
hey, that's a pretty good game, actually. I've been playing it recently.
I feel like it's also because developers aren't optimizing their games enough.
Oh, yeah.
Developers, they don't care about getting the files. Because, like, you can go, like, there's videos on Steam, on, like, if you go to a Steam page and you look at a game, there's, like, a guide, like, how to make this game smaller, how to compress these files. Like, for me, I don't necessarily care. I have 12 terabytes of hard drive and about 4-ish terabytes of SSD storage. I'm fine. But, and again, on a PlayStation 5, like, I had to buy an external 2 terabyte external 2 terabyte like USB drive to fit the games that I wanted to play from the PS4. Because on the PS5, you can only play PS5 games off of the internal SSD. You can't play PS5 games off of the external drives. And there is an M.2 expansion slot in the PlayStation 5, but it's not active yet. You can't like literally if you put a drive into that slot, your PlayStation will throw a fit and you have to remove it to be able to use the console. Yeah, so Sony did recently allow people to be able to move their games. So like let's say you live in, I don't know, what's a place that has slow? Let's say you live in North Korea, which this is a horrible example, but your download is like 1 megabit per second. So it's horribly slow. It takes you a day to download a game or whatever, right? So because of that, you don't want to have to uninstall a game to play a new game that you want because the PS5 internal SSD after the OS and all the updates to the Sony stuff is only about 630 gigs. That's all you get baked into the console. So because of that, I have to buy an external hard drive to be able to play the game. But now you can move a game off of the internal SSD onto the hard drive and move it back when you want to play it again. But I think in 2021, like 600 gigs was like fine during the Xbox 360 and maybe even during the Xbox One.
Even 600 like for computers, that was a lot.
Yeah, back in 2013.
Like,
but
that was
now,
a lot still.
Yeah, you can't have Red Dead Redemption 2 and Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and Call of Duty Modern Warfare all installed on your PlayStation at once. That is only 3 games. I feel like the next-gen console should have had 2 terabyte drives at least, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, here's the problem that I have with Activision solely, because their games are enormous.
Also, kind of getting off topic.
Joke there. Well, no, I mean...
we can. I'll cut this part out, but we're just going with a natural conversation. We'll circle back. We're only at 47 minutes. This episode can be an hour and a half.
So I was just digging around on my Steam and Battle.net profile or pages with games, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't remember how big Call of Duty is off the top of my head, but let's see real quick, actually. It's calculating size. Can't tell. It updates pending. But Advanced Warfare was like 50 gigs in total.
Mm-hmm.
Black Ops 2 was about 40 gigs.
Uh-huh.
Black Ops 3, I think it was close to like 70 or 80 gigs. Black Ops 4, God, who knows, 130 now?
Yeah. After they added Blackout.
With the compression methods that we have, they should be like 10 gigabytes.
Honestly, yeah.
The only thing that would have to be worried about is the decompression of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like that would just really matter, like SSD or hard drive speed and then CPU speed, I guess.
Yeah, like Titanfall 1 did a compression and decompression when you would install it. It would install at like 20 gigs, and then the first launch, it decompresses all of these audio files for you. But then they're recompressed after they're decompressed.
Yeah.
So it takes a while, but it saves space ridiculously well.
Yeah.
Or you like even at Ryan's point though, like at installing just more space on these consoles. Like it shouldn't be that hard for the manufacturer to do that.
Yeah, and it shouldn't come down to the customer to like I spent $60 of my own money to buy a 2 terabyte external drive that I should not have had to get.
Mm-hmm.
Like these console developers, like if you're sitting in a room with the PlayStation executives, you know, and you're pitching ideas for the next generation of consoles, and you know on the last generation of consoles, Call of Duty was 250 gigabytes. Hey, Mr. Sony head Jim Ryan, I think that's his name.
I don't remember.
Yeah, so I think that these new consoles should have, 2 to 3 terabytes of internal storage right out the gate because games are just going to get bigger. Yeah, good job, Jerry Dimmadome, and that's a good idea,
Yeah.
You get a raise. It's common sense. I feel like I don't understand why they overlooked that. Like the SSD, in their defense, the SSD is fast. Like I'm also working on a PlayStation 5 review. I can go from the system powered off into Spider-Man Miles Morales in about 10 seconds. Like it is fast.
But are you sure that's like on the SSD itself, or is it like on flash memory, like the RAM?
Well, it doesn't matter. Like it's fast regardless, and like I think it wouldn't be flash memory because the system is like I have it entirely powered off.
Well,
there can be like it can be kind of intertwined. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
The SSD can use RAM to speed up.
But like my point is like while I have mass storage on my PC, like I have upwards of like 16 terabytes of storage on my PC on the PlayStation, like it's just faster. Like I can load into Days Gone on the PS5 faster than I can load into Days Gone on my PC. It's just that SSD is quick.
Here's one thing, Ryan. You know, I've been repairing a couple of PS4s for a coworker of mine.
Mhm.
I have a few of them back there, but I was looking at them, and both my own PS4 Pro and my coworker's PS4 Pro have the 1 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
After everything's done, I think the total capacity was almost 900 gigs,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a 1 terabyte hard drive. Why did they not put a 1 terabyte SSD into the PS5? They stuck one that was smaller. It wasn't a 1 terabyte.
It wasn't?
No, it's not a 1 terabyte.
What is it?
That's the thing. I think it was an exactly 825 gig custom made M.2 they put in there.
Yeah, because
that's why after all that's installed, it gets
Yeah.
smaller.
Because they were gloating during the PlayStation 5 reveal about how this is going to be the fastest console ever, and I can attest to that in terms of like loading times. Microsoft's Xbox Series X is technically more powerful than the PlayStation 5, but in terms of like loading times, it's so much faster on the PlayStation, and that's like that is the like next gen thing I get from my PlayStation 5. Like if I load into I guess like a game on my PC, like Horizon Zero Dawn's on the PlayStation, and it's also on PC, and I'm going to transition to a conversation about that in a second. But like, I just load into it so much faster if it's on the internal drive. Like I'll have it on my 970 Evo in my computer, right? My 1 terabyte 970 Evo. That's a good drive. It's not like some cheap Western Digital one, but
Ouch.
well, it's 970 Evos are known for being fat. It's not a 980 Evo. I don't want to drop $200 on 1 terabyte of storage.
960 Pro is faster.
Wait, really?
Yeah, the 960 Pro is faster.
Damn. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but still,
their number schemes are weird, but that's a different talk.
yeah.
But
it's
one
just,
thing
it's
that
so
I
much
did wanna say-
faster on the PS5, and so that's
the one
that's
thing I
like
wanted to
the
say-
next gen thing that I feel. All right, go ahead, Kyle. Sorry.
The one thing I wanted to say about the PlayStation is I think I know why they went with a smaller drive.
Hmm.
Because hitting the 1 terabyte cap, the speeds are cut back by so much
Really?
with the SSDs. It's the caching that it has to do. I don't know the cache size of that one, but I feel like they went with a smaller drive because they replaced one of the memory slots with a cache slot.
That's why.
That's why with the old M.2s or even old RAM, how there are only 4 chips on the thing, and now they have 8 chips, both sides being used, is because now they found out, hey, we have more real estate. We can add more chips, but even put a bigger cache on it. Okay, Ryan. You can put a bigger cache amount so it can store the important files like the boot file. It can get to it faster because it's a faster read than the actual memory chips.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that they went with a little bit smaller drive than a 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a 1 terabyte or even a 2 terabyte SSD, look at its read-write speeds compared to a 500 gigabyte. The read-write speeds are completely different.
Yeah.
Interesting, but that doesn't excuse Sony from not even implementing a second drive.
Well, it's
Yeah, well,
it's there,
it's in
but you just
development,
can't.
apparently.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's there,
it
but you can't use it.
shouldn't be. How hard is it for them to program?
Well, so
The second
the main caveat is that the second drive needs to be the same read and write speed as the internal drive, because the M.2 expansion slot is also going to be able to play first party PlayStation 5 exclusive and PlayStation 5 optimized games, and it needs to be as fast, if not faster, than the drive that's already there. And I think the problem is that there's not a lot of affordable drives at that price yet, so Sony's probably working with Seagate, Western Digital, Samsung, and they're working on making drives for their console. They just didn't get there yet. Like Microsoft has Seagate 1 terabyte expansion slots for their like little little cards that you can put into the back of the Xbox Series X, and that automatically like it just increases the capacity of your console.
Yeah,
So
I didn't know
Microsoft
that.
already has a like proprietary 1 terabyte expansion slot. It's like a little chip looking thing that you just pop into the back of the console. They're kind of expensive though. That's the problem. It's 1 terabyte. Like let me look this up real quick. I want to see how expensive this is.
I'm actually looking at an SN850 1 terabyte. It's about $120.
I bet it's still going to be just as expensive as Sony's drive that they release if they have a proprietary drive. The problem with that is like why didn't it just come with a drive made from Sony already?
So the
Like
expansion
1.4.
drive for 1 terabyte on the Xbox Series X is $219 from the Microsoft Store.
Wow, that's crazy.
That is $200 for just a little chip, and it's only a terabyte too. So that the value, like the dollar per like storage you get is bad. The cheapest one is $218, but they're around the $220 mark. So you pay half of the price of your console. I'd rather buy an Xbox Series X and an Xbox Series S for that amount of money.
Computers are just better.
Yeah, I mean it's weird though, because like computers are just much. I view computers like a Lego bin, and consoles like the Lego set. You know, the consoles are they're all built the same, and if I get a console and you get a console, we'll pretty much get the exact same thing. Like if I got a Lego Death Star and you got a Lego Death Star, if you follow the instructions exactly, we'll both end up with the same Lego Death Star, you know? But then if I have a bin of Legos and you have a bin of Legos, you can build your own computer, and I can also build my own computer, and they'll be very different.
I see what you mean.
Like, I wasn't listening to what y'all were talking about. I was reading about the expandable storage, but I came back in right as you said Lego sets, and your computer, Ryan, and my computer are very different.
Mm-hmm.
But the parts are backwards compatible.
Yeah.
But we, like you said, different Lego bins. You can build your own thing.
Yeah.
Like,
but,
our setups are very similar. We have a powerful graphics card, powerful CPU, but yours are spec'd differently from mine because we both chose, hey, let's do it a little bit different.
Yeah.
Consoles, they won't be like that, sadly.
Well, it's because they're mass produced. It's a streamlined thing. That's why you can't fucking take the graphics card out of your Xbox One and put it into your PS5. That would just be weird. Like it won't work.
Yeah, because it's a solid board.
Yeah,
but whatever.
You couldn't do that, you know. But in terms of on the topic of just Sony, I know we talked about stuff that EA was doing right earlier, so I want to talk about stuff that Sony's doing right. And while I really do not like their approach to crossplay, as we touched on, I don't like how they make people they charge companies to make crossplay on their platform. I think that's stupid.
Oh yeah.
One thing they're doing right is that their exclusive library is coming to PC. There are 41, some marked, some unmarked, PlayStation Interactive Studios exclusive games coming to PC.
That's awesome.
And Uncharted 4 has already been announced. We already have Horizon Zero Dawn. We already have Days Gone. We already have Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human, and Until Dawn. So we have 6 of these major PlayStation 4 exclusives and PlayStation 3 exclusives already on PC. So, do you think Sony putting their exclusives on PC and Microsoft putting their exclusives on PC will make people want to go to PC, because then they could play everything rather than just get a console? Because I feel like the console experience is streamlined. You know, it's you plug it in, you play it, it works. PC, you can get it pre-built, but you're still going to run into more issues on PC than you would on a console. That's just the way it is. But do you think that people would go to PC knowing that they could play Halo and Killzone and God of War and Gears of War and Uncharted and like Forza all on the same system rather than have to pick and choose what console they get because of the exclusives? Do you think that's going to hurt Sony and Microsoft?
Being a PC gamer, I hope it does bring more people to owning a PC. And I actually don't necessarily think it's going to hurt Microsoft or Sony. Just like you said, they hardly make any money from their consoles. They make it mostly from digital sales. They're still going to get digital sales from selling those games on PC.
Mm-hmm.
So if they cut out the only thing consoles are really good at is the ease of use and the portability
and the price to performance. Build a PC that's more powerful than the Xbox Series X for the same price. Good luck.
It's very difficult, especially right now with the shortage, and the scalpers. Like, it's almost impossible. You can't do it.
Well, I like the simplicity of the console. You buy one item, you plug it in, and it works. That's it. Yep. You can get into gaming really quickly.
Yeah.
With a computer, good luck.
And I feel like if you have a computer, you're still gonna have a console.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
if every single Sony exclusive comes to PC, I'll still keep my PlayStation 5 just because sometimes, you know, when I worked at Walmart, I didn't even make it upstairs at the end of the day. Like I plopped down on my couch, pulled out my PlayStation controller, and just didn't move for 4 hours after my shift.
There's something about that.
I come home from work. I don't want to sit at my desk and lean forward and play on a keyboard and mouse. I want to go lay in bed with a controller in my hand. Which I can do. I just click a button and my console turns on. I don't have to touch anything.
And like that's the reason why one of the reasons why I bought my HD base T. Like if you don't know what that is, it's basically TLDR. You plug in graphics card out from your computer into the transmitter. It goes via Ethernet down into a receiver in another room. So you can basically send the signal of your computer with little to no delay at all from point A to point B. And so I have a HDBaseT transmitter up here with my computer, and I have the receiver downstairs next to the TV in the living room. And so if I want to sit down and just play games that have controller support, or I have a keyboard and mouse like lap board as well, I could just chill on the couch. Like if I wanted to, I could just bring my PlayStation 5 downstairs, plug my computer into the HDBaseT, and just spend all day on the couch.
So I've actually been testing something out. Nick knows a lot about this. My setup that I have. I have my desk and I have my desk setup and I have my TV over there. I have an HDBaseT along with a Matrix, which I think you recently picked up one, right, Ryan?
Nick and I have been on an adventure trying to find a Matrix for me that works. I've gone through like 2 of them, and there was it was a 4K 4x4, but then it wasn't 4K because when we plugged my computer into it, it wasn't 4K. And then when I did HDR, everything had a stroke. And then the first one I bought wasn't even a HDMI Matrix; it was like a splitter.
So the one that I have, it's nothing fancy. It does 1080 60 max. So I don't really care for 4K as of right now. But the way that I have mine set up is kind of weird. It's a 6 in, 2 out. Completely different than what you had. So I have all the ports already populated with all my consoles. But with a click of a button, I can have it on my desktop monitor or I can have it on my TV.
Yeah, I want to set up like that.
I have spent a lot of time getting it working.
Yeah.
But I also have all the audio routed through my headset, so I don't have to deal with anything.
That's cool.
I can have my headset on, and if I want to, turn my headset off, and it plays through my soundbar.
That's why you have a professional install it.
Well, Nick, don't plug your company. This episode's sponsored by
plugging companies.
The company Nick works for. Have him come to your house and install a $2,600 HDMI Matrix with the cheapest item they have being like a $200 HDMI cable.
Now, I have been talking with Nick, since he works for the company, of how I should have it set up. Now, I'm not doing like a whole house setup. I'm just doing it so I don't have to unplug something, walk to the other side of my room, and plug it in.
Yeah.
So it's really easy. Like, it's just chill. There's nothing hard about it. Like, you don't unplug something from the back of a PS4 or PS5, whatnot.
I wish this was a more streamlined thing, because for me, like with the modern people having everybody has a computer in their house for the most part, and a laptop if they have a kid, and a console, and I feel like this is something that should just be normalized, because if they normalized it, prices for a lot of the stuff would go down if more people would start buying it. Well, but what I want to do something similar to Kyle, but I want to have I want a 4x4 because I want to be able to plug in a Switch Pro whenever it comes out, my PS5 and my PC, and I want it to be able to output to my TV that I have upstairs, my gaming computer that I have upstairs, and then also the TV downstairs. So if I have people over and we want to play like Mario Kart, but there's too many people on or too many people in one room, I could just hit the button and transmit the Nintendo Switch downstairs, and they're playing Mario Kart downstairs even though the Switch is plugged in upstairs. And then I also have somebody on the TV playing the PlayStation 5, and then I'm on my computer. I just want to be able to choose. I don't understand why this isn't a thing just already. I want to be able to just play what I have where in any room that I have a TV or a monitor, because if I want to just sit down on the couch and pet my dog while I'm playing Halo or whatever, I can do that. Or just chill up here with a friend and watch a movie on my computer on the TV over there, or sit in front of my monitor and play my PlayStation. I feel like that is something that should be more streamlined, because I feel like everybody would use the crap out of it.
So not enough people know about it. That's it. The industry in general is just a little bit hidden, because it's so expensive, and the knowledge of how to get it set up is so it's just not shared. It's a little bit more complicated than just plug and play.
Yeah.
I wish it was plug and play.
Now, I actually have a universal remote right here. So, your the remote that you have in your hand, Kyle, for the HDMI Matrix.
The only thing I touch.
This remote can do literally everything that can and more. Well, it might be a little bit older remote, but this thing's about $1,000. Actually, I don't know. This might be now a couple $100. But so this can control the TV. It can control an HDMI Matrix. It can control anything that has an RF or IR transmitter. And you can program it to do anything.
That's cool.
And I think that's so cool as well.
Because imagine this:
one remote to rule them all.
You know how there's almost every house has networking run through it. Why don't people just construction companies just have every house that's 2 stories has that closet that's under their stairs, right? So
Yeah.
that closet under your
Mine's a
stairs could
bathroom,
be
but
your central hub of your
Well,
entertainment
so,
devices,
yeah,
and
we,
then
we
every
call
house
that like
has
a head end.
yeah,
or
but
like
then every house should have
something.
like these HDMI cords run through them, like the networking, and then an HD base T just like in the house already, like a smart
It's
house.
expensive.
Yeah, but
It
like
is very expensive.
that
It is not
would be
as-
my dream, like just to have all of my stuff set up and lock it too, so my kid can't get his hands on the Switch and play like I used to do. Like I would be on my DS until like 3 a.m. on school nights during elementary school, and I would hear my parents come by, I would close the DS, put it under my pillow, pretend to sleep, and then they would come in my room and check on me, like, okay, he's asleep. And they close the door, walk away, and pull the DS back out, playing on volume 1 so they can't hear it.
So, Nick,
Things about having like a head end like that, or like cat ran across your house. Like right now, I do think new constructions, like if you're building a new house, they're gonna typically run like one cat line to each room or
Yeah.
location, or maybe like a TV or computer at. But that's only one cat. Like for an HD based T setup, and obviously you want internet there for like you just want to plug in Ethernet to the TV, so it's hardwired, has the most speed you can get it to. So fastest, I guess, download. That requires 2 cats at the least. And
Yeah.
then maybe a coax if you have satellite or direct TV, which not a lot of people have that anymore, but still there. Or even like Cat 8 or Cat 7 for more compressed video. Like because a Cat 6, which would probably be the most common wire RAN, won't carry 4K 120. Like it just can't. The bandwidth it requires will only like be carried in a Cat 8 or maybe even more cable, which is very expensive.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like it probably like to wire a 2-story house. It's not a couple $1,000s. It's a couple tens of thousands of dollars,
Good
I mean,
Lord.
my house was ran with Cat 5e,
which is
which
very
is
cheap. Well,
very, very cheap.
back then it probably wasn't as cheap. Now it's pretty cheap.
Oh yeah, but I've thought about running Cat 8 straight from my router into my room. It's freaking expensive.
How much would it cost you, do you think? Like a couple $100 just for the one cable run? If
For
not a couple
myself?
thousand?
Myself, yes, but if I was to have a company do it, I'd be looking at a couple $1,000s
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
they'd have to cut my wall apart and run everything around. Because you can't just plug into a Cat 5e and make it work like a Cat 6 or a Cat
Well,
8.
you can't. Well, so you can and can't. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like Cat 5e or Cat 6 will never carry the same bandwidth as a Cat 7 or Cat 8.
Like right now, I have Cat 8 coming out of the router into the wall where it's converted to Cat 5e. And then I have a breakout panel that I have everything wired into, and then it goes through that into my room through Cat 5e, and then back out, and then into my computer through I think I have Cat 7 at my computer because I upgraded the wire early, or had a different wire when I was doing my router setup from when I had my computer hooked up. But the bandwidth is decent, but it would be a lot better if it was all Cat 7 at least. But it's too expensive to rewire it.
I don't know about that. Cat 6 will pretty much do everything that you need it to do at
Well,
your
yeah.
current speeds. Unless you're pushing up transmission like data above a 1 gig connection, Cat 6 is completely fine. You'll never
Yeah.
so Cat 6 should be able to do 18 gigabits completely fine. I'm pretty sure it's 18 now.
Yeah, it's something like that. I've been tempted, to run it because where my router is, it's basically right above me. I just have to snake it down into because the outlet on that wall is shared with the outlet or in the same stud as the outlet in my in the room above. So I could
so
technically run it straight down and connect it all.
It's 10
but-
gigabits. But
I don't feel like it's necessary at this point because
well,
I'm the
so
only
in-
one that would be using it.
Yeah, in reality, like if you really wanted to splurge money, like just get 1,000 feet of Cat 6 for probably $100,
Mm-hmm.
and just wire your whole house with that.
Yeah,
It might
exactly.
take a little while, but at least then all your house would be wired with Cat 6. Put
And
2
would
cats.
that also
in each
increase
location.
the market value of your house if
Uh,
it's ran
Probably
better?
not.
Probably not. Not in the
No.
neighborhood that I'm located. So, I'm located in a neighborhood that is technically sold to elders, but I don't know why we're here. But
I
so
don't
they
know.
wouldn't really
a lot of
care.
the people that I went to elementary school with all lived in that neighborhood.
Yeah, but as of recent, it's more of an elders location.
Yeah, they're not
Everyone,
moving out. Like,
yeah, they're not going to move out, so there's no need to do anything. Like we haven't upgraded really anything in this house, other than redid the pool. That's it. We replaced the equipment, and maybe re-leveled the house because the ground shifted. But that's really it. It was things that we wanted.
Yeah.
We weren't looking to increase our value. Our old house, we did a whole bunch of stuff. It didn't even have Cat 5e ran in the walls. We went and ran Cat 5e. We built a patio and everything that we wanted, and it increased the value, but it was just based on location.
I bet the patio increased a lot more than the cat ran in the wall.
It really
my
did.
house before I lived in the house that I did all the parties in. The house before that, when I was closer to Kyle. Yeah, when I was closer to Kyle, like when we bought that house, the backyard was just grass, and then we installed like a pool, and then like a door to access like from the garage into the backyard, and then we installed like a hot tub by the pool and like some trees and like some outdoor furniture. We had an entire custom patio built, and that increased the value of that house by a lot. But we're getting a little bit off topic, so I want to steer us a little bit more towards we're gonna talk about one more thing before we jump into the trailers, and that is
which one, so I know to open the link.
We're gonna talk about the RTX 3080 Ti and then the Nintendo Switch Pro. So
this is one thing that's
houses, sometimes houses have leaks. Speaking of leaks, let's go ahead and talk about video game leaks.
My car has a leak.
Epic transitions. Wow. So the RTX 3080 Ti that's basically been leaked out the wazoo to the point where like almost the entire spec sheet of the card is out there. So Kyle, you have the link pulled up, so just go ahead and talk about what you see.
So I'm just reading it. God damn.
I'm gonna sell my 3070 for it.
That's all I gotta say right now. I mean, I'm just looking at the spec compared to the 3090.
Yeah,
$500 less. It's basically the same card.
It's better than the 3090 price per performance.
That is true.
Yeah.
The only reason that I bought a 3090 is just because I like to have the top of the line. I really don't need a 3090. I could have been fine with a 3080, but like I found one for a reasonable price, and I don't think
actually
I've ever talked
bought
about
it to
this,
sell it for $2,000.
Yeah,
when the 3080 Ti comes out.
Yeah, but like let me tell you guys a story. Nick and Kyle both know this, but the way I got my hands on a 3090 for close to MSRP is that some dude bought it for, I think he bought it for his kid, but then his kid crashed his car, and they needed to pay off the damages to the car, and so because of that, they're like, his dad was basically like, you need to sell that computer gizmo that I got you because we got to pay off the damages to your car. And so I bought a 3090 only $100 ish over MSRP. So instead of it being like $1,600, it was about $1,700. But
that's not too bad.
Yeah, no, that's not bad at all compared to what they're going for now. They're selling for upwards to $3,000 right now.
It's like when I bought my console, my PS5.
Yeah, and like
it wasn't very much more.
No, like I did some research because I found a PS5 for a base. I mean, it was MSRP, and it came with 2 games and 2 controllers. And then I sold one of the controllers, and then I changed my mind about that, so I bought another controller off of Amazon.
Oh,
but
speaking of which,
hold on, real quick. So
okay.
I was like, I'm sure you guys have heard of Craigslist. Not many people really know about Facebook Marketplace, I don't think, but it's the same deal, right? And so I was scouring Facebook Marketplace for about a week to find Kyle a console, and we ended up finding this guy who worked at a Best Buy who bought the console from his store because it was a canceled order, and then he flipped it online, but it was only like $200 over MSRP.
It really wasn't that bad.
So it wasn't that bad. And that's the thing. Like, it sucks that we have to resort to scalpers to get our hands on these products, but at the same time, can't find them anywhere.
I mean, it's even that employee bought the console.
Yeah, that employee bought it. He worked at Best Buy.
Is wrong, completely wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not too upset about him doing it, but honestly, he was very nice about it. He was originally listing it for what, $750, I think.
Yeah, so he was listing it for $750, and then I reached out to him, and he's like, "Yeah, so if you can pick it up today, I'll give it $700 instead of $750." And Kyle's like, "See if we'll go down to like $650," and I tried that, and he's like, "No."
But then he went down to $600.
Wait, really?
I bought it for $600. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did have it listed at $750, but he's like, "Dude, I just want to get rid of this. I don't even care about that much of a profit." So he flipped it, but he only made $200 profit instead of like $300.
Dude, if
like,
he flipped that in a day, that's a good profit margin.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
no, he flipped it in a day, but still, like at
No,
the same time,
but-
Kyle probably would have bought it for 700 instead of 600.
I was going to, but I just wanted to see if it would go lower, honestly.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, yes, I bought a scalped console. I was at Best Buy today, and I bought myself my webcam, the new one that I'm using. But I just kind of walked around their console area just to see what was going on.
Yeah.
They had no Xbox controllers, no PS4 controllers. They had a single PS5 controller and nothing else in stock. That's all they had. A single controller in stock. Not even the remotes, not even the cameras.
Yeah, so
No
I
headsets.
went to Best Buy recently because I was in the area, and it was the day that we were supposed to go get ice cream. That one day that we were going to hang out afterwards, but so I was in that area and I went to that Best Buy and I walked inside and the only consoles they had in stock, they had one Xbox One X, and then they had 4 Nintendo Switch Lites, and that was it. Not a PlayStation
this one had
5, not an Xbox Series X, not an Xbox Series S, nothing. They had 4 Switch Lites and then a last-gen console. And that was all this store had in stock.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of controllers, are we also having a shortage of Xbox remotes? Like, this Best Buy didn't have a single Xbox controller in stock.
Again, they use semiconductors.
Yeah, no, I guess.
So,
but,
Well, no, I mean, the one that I went to is a bigger one. It's at a mall strip over by me. So I went there and it was damn near empty.
yeah.
I was surprised at how
That's
empty it was.
because the stock isn't catching up. So with this RTX 3080 Ti, do you think it's going to come out this year, or do you think they're going to wait? Because
It's
it's
gonna come out.
it's still spec'd in the 30 series. You know, it's not like a 4080 Ti or whatever. So it's in this current generation of graphics cards. But if it comes out, do you think you're even going to be able to find it?
I doubt
No, you're not going to be able to find it. It's going to be scalped. You're
Yeah.
going to be able to find it scalped.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to come over before the end of 2021.
Yeah, so the RTX 3080 Ti is a couple $100 more than the 3080, but you get about 2 or 1,500-ish more CUDA cores, and is the boost clock worse? That's weird.
Also, boost clock doesn't necessarily mean like it's
Yeah.
going to be faster or slower. Like,
Yeah. And instead, you get 2 more gigs of RAM. So instead of 10 gigs of GDDR6, you get 12 gigs of GDDR6. And then I'm over here with a 3090 with 24 gigs. But it doesn't surprise me that NVIDIA wants to close the gap between the 3080 and the 3090 because there is a big just space there. Because in my opinion, the 3090 is more of like the Quadro, or maybe not the Quadro, but it's like the Titan of the 30 series. Because they're not going to release an RTX 3000 Titan because they already have an RTX Titan.
sort of. The 3090 is an 8K card, like meant to run 8K panels.
Yeah.
The 3080 is supposed to run the 4K panels. Because there's not really much of a difference between the 4K gaming on 3080, 3090. Is there?
No.
Unless ray tracing's involved.
Oh, ray tracing is easier to run on a 3090, but
Yeah,
like,
because it has more cores.
like I really don't need a 3090 for what I do. I honestly only have one because I found one for a decent price and I could afford it at the time. It was literally like a paycheck. But like this RTX 3080 Ti, it's
It
a
looks
good
nice.
deal. It looks nice. It really does.
$1,000 for how much performance? That's really good. It's just a little on paper. It looks just a little worse than the 3090.
It does, because the 3090's
yeah.
CUDA cores is 10,496, and this one, the 3080 Ti, according to the links, by the way, these are not official, like published by NVIDIA, but it's 10,240. So it's only got like 200 give or take ish less CUDA cores, like 250 less CUDA cores. And
I just found an Xbox Series X in stock, unironically, on Costco.com.
that's funny.
Now, so what do you think
It's like
NVIDIA is trying to
$800.
do with people using gaming GPUs to mine cryptocurrencies?
Well,
Ooh.
actually, thanks for bringing that up, because the
about
RTX
that one.
3080 Ti has no mining limiter, and this is according to the leaks. There is a mining limiter on the AIB versions of the cards, but not the Founders Edition. So I don't know how the mining limiter is necessarily going to work. I don't know. I mean, the people who cryptocurrency mine, some of those motherfuckers are so smart they'll get around it. Like I don't think you can like just limit. Like I'm on the fence about it.
Software.
Yeah, it's all in the software, but like morally, I'm against a company limiting what you can do with their product. Like, I think you should be able, once you buy the product, I think you should be able to use the full potential of it. But at the same
Apple.
time,
But it's also
cryptocurrency mining is part of the problem with being able
Exactly.
to get your hands on graphics cards, because so many of them are just in a warehouse hooked up, like all these wires to these weird like crypto. Like, there's this one guy who got like a pallet of like RTX 3080s, and he used all of them in a cryptocurrency mining rig. And cryptocurrency, like, I'm so on the fence about it, because I feel like you should be able to do everything that your product should be able to do when you buy it. It is your property once you buy it. But at the same time, I don't like them using gaming cards to cryptocurrency mine, because gamers can't find graphics cards. Like, there's on the PCMR subreddit, there's so many people who have like a balls to the wall gaming computer with like Ryzen 9 like 5950X and 32 gigs of RAM on an X570 motherboard with like two terabyte M.2 SSDs, and then a GT 1030 because they can't find a graphics card anywhere. Like, it sucks. But like, I'm so on the fence about it, because I hate cryptocurrency mining because you can't get your hands on a graphics card to play games. But at the same time, you should be able to do everything you want to do with your product. So what do you guys think about that?
If NVIDIA releases cryptocurrency mining GPUs, then there should be no problem with that.
Yeah.
Because then you would buy a specific GPU for what you want to do. If they're selling a crypto mining GPU, buy that.
Okay,
Don't buy the
question.
gaming GPU.
Question: what parts of the graphics card do cryptocurrency miners need? Like,
I'm pretty sure it's just,
VRAM, I think.
yeah. It's not even the
amount-
CUDA cores.
Yeah.
so then they
There's
released
CUDA
like a
and ray
GT
tracing.
1030 with a bunch of like VRAM on it, like 24 gigs of VRAM on like a graphics card that, in terms of gaming performance, could only do about like 720p 30 on the latest titles, right?
Mhm.
And they pumped that out, because the thing is like, I'm ignorant to the fact that I don't know what specific parts of a graphics card are used to cryptocurrency mine. So I don't necessarily know how NVIDIA would be able to release a mining specific card. Like, does it just have no outputs on it?
Yeah.
Because
It
it
just
is.
has no outputs.
Okay.
It's so it's just using the processing power. So if CUDA cores increase the processing powers
Then
and
they would want
RTX
CUDA
cores
cores.
do, then it would use CUDA cores. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, even then, like if you have a gaming specific GPU, buy the crypto one. There's also ASIC miners that are
Exactly.
Ooh, yeah.
specifically made to mine cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, and like, I
They're
feel like
very
if they
expensive.
made a card specifically for cryptocurrency and proved that it was definitely more efficient at it,
Mhm.
and maybe lowered the price a little bit, maybe, keep the gaming GPUs at a stupid cost because gamers will buy it anyway, but then maybe make the cryptocurrency miners graphics cards like $600, $700, but there's no video outputs from it. It can only be used for cryptocurrency mining. So when you buy the card, you also have to think about the fact that if cryptocurrency crashes, you can't just resell this to a gamer because they don't want it because there's no output. And like, it's not like SLI is a thing that's used anymore. You're not going to have like your mining 3080 and SLI with your gaming 3080 because SLI is
That's pretty
dead.
cool.
But like, I think that cryptocurrency mining, it's really annoying because you can't get your hands on a graphics card because of the shortage, and then there's people who have like 20 RTX 3090s using it to mine cryptocurrency. They're not even using the card for technically what the card was built to do, and that is gaming. And that's what bothers me. But at the same time, I don't feel like a company should limit what you're able to do on a product that you own, because once it's yours, it is yours.
I also don't think that a person should be able to buy 50 RTX 3090s to
Well,
mine.
that comes into the conversations about bots, and that circles back to when these like products launched. Companies, I think they were just ignorant. They did not expect what was going to happen to them. Like Walmart.com
They definitely.
crashed
Well, the problem
several
was,
times.
It was because of
Because
what
of the
happened
bots.
with the world.
Well, yeah, it was not even that. Walmart.com didn't expect 200,000 people with 10 to 12 bot accounts at once to come on to Walmart.com and try to buy a PlayStation 5. Because if it was just real people trying to buy the PlayStation 5, maybe the servers would have crashed once or twice, but I feel like they would have been able to fix it. But if there's 50 people with a bunch of bots and they're flooding the website just trying to just get their hands on one for the sole purpose of just reselling it, like, I think bots are the reason why, you couldn't do that.
Now, this is just speculation, but do you think the same thing would have happened if the RTX 30 series was launched before everything in the world happened? Like
No.
the end of the world?
So I think the the end of the world. Yikes, this is a little pessimistic, buddy. But I don't think we would have run into the same problem just because. I mean, a lot of people who don't know, like, imagine this: you're a Best Buy worker. Your job is to make sales and convince people to buy things. If you convince them to buy the most expensive thing, good job. You did good at your job, right? Your job is to make people want to buy things. Karen walks into your store. There's a global pandemic. She needs to work from home. There's two computers: a $500 computer that is more than capable for what she needs, or a $2,000 computer with an RTX 3090 on it. Which one are you going to sell her? The $2,000 one, because you want to make that $2,000 sale. So, and if she doesn't know the difference and she says, more money must be better, even though she doesn't need that much computing power, she's going to buy the one that costs more. And so the pandemic caused a lot of, in my opinion, situations like that where people didn't know but just needed. And they're like, everything else is out of stock. This computer's $2,000. What the hell is an RTX 3090? I don't care. Need buy, But if the pandemic wasn't a factor, I don't think, that obviously wouldn't have happened because so many people wouldn't have been sent to work from home. Yeah. Because when the pandemic, a lot of kids were kicked out of school. Like, my college didn't know what the fuck to do. They're like, so by the end of it, they're like, yo, any Fs you guys got during the pandemic, they're not going to count against you on your record because, nobody saw this shit coming. But like, I went on spring break and never went back to school until like last month when I did my previous semester.
Dude, I didn't even go back because I graduated during COVID.
Yeah.
So
but like it was a mess. But I think that because so many people were stuck at home and needed computers for entertainment and like work, it's just there was no way that, I mean, the entire country pretty much, aside from like essential workers, had to work from home. So you have all these people who haven't upgraded their family computer in 10 years because all they do is watch YouTube and Netflix on it and maybe browse Amazon, Like, that's the way my grandparents were. They didn't use their computer for fuck all. I built it for them a year before the pandemic hit, and my grandma had to work from home and teach preschool from home. And she had a computer capable of like screen sharing and doing all that stuff because I built her a decent computer. But like, so many people wanted computers and so many people needed computers that it just became a problem that NVIDIA just couldn't keep up with. Because think about it. Who makes graphics cards? NVIDIA, AMD. That's it. Maybe Intel on the laptop side. But you got three companies versus everybody in the world pretty much needing one. They could not keep up. So I think
not everybody in the world, but
yeah, well, it's quotations. Everybody in the world, First world. Well, even in other countries, like, computers became necessary. But
they're not going to be being sold 3060s even in those countries.
Well, yeah, but my point is that I don't think that NVIDIA would be in the situation they are right now with their graphics cards because they probably they have people who look at the sales numbers and look at the analytics and look at the prices and look at the consumer behavior and study what price point to sell these at and then how fast. I mean, they have quarterly meetings with executives every quarter of the year about, we expect to push X amount of units of X graphics card or whatever. And so they probably just didn't expect this to happen. And because they probably started producing the 30 series cards a year or two before they launched, because they, needed to manufacture X amount to get it ready for the expected X amount of customers, they thought everything they had it all set in stone and already had the gears turning before the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, it was too late to go back and just reevaluate everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was too late. So I think if the pandemic wasn't a thing, they would have been fine, and you would have been able to find an Xbox and a PlayStation and all this other stuff. But so much of the technology we use is manufactured in China, and China was ground zero. So that was just a big problem. But I rambled for a lot there, but did you understand my point?
Yes.
Okay. So the RTX 30 Ti or 3080 Ti, looks interesting. It's a decent price to performance. I remember back in my day when the most expensive graphics card was $800, but now they're up to $1,500 now. Yikes. But there's one more leak that we're going to take a look at before we get into gameplay trailers. We're going to be talking about Far Cry 6, Horizon Forbidden West, and Dying Light 2. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about the good old Switch Pro leak. So, Kyle, you have a Nintendo Switch, correct?
He's grabbing it. Oh, there it is.
So, the
Flip the
Nintendo
Switch,
Switch
I'm sorry.
Pro has been in talks for a while, and the Nintendo Switch it's basically on the path to be Nintendo's best-selling console, beating out the Nintendo Wii. So it makes sense that they're going to make a successor to the Nintendo Switch, and they're going to make the Nintendo Switch Pro. Now, the Switch came out right as a lot of people transitioned from 1080p televisions to 4K televisions. So the original Switch, when it's docked into Space Station, only outputs at 1080p 60 frames per second, and when it's in your hand, it does 720p, I think like 60 to 30. I think it's a variable refresh rate when it's in handheld.
I thought it was
mode.
48.
Is it 48? I don't actually know.
I
But-
don't remember.
Basically, the leaks are that the Switch Pro is going to get an upgraded Samsung OLED 720p screen when it's in handheld mode. And 720p is fine because the actual screen of the Switch is not that big.
Only, 8 inches?
Yeah, it doesn't need to be like 720p on a TV nowadays, but on an 8-inch screen.
8 inches?
Shut up. But
here.
so basically it's rumored that it's going to be able to dock and output from the dock at 4K at 60 frames per second, and in handheld mode it'll have a OLED screen that is basically it'll just look way better than the current Nintendo Switch does. So do you think that Nintendo's making the right move, basically refreshing the Switch, or would you want them to try something new? Like, do you think the Switch is the peak of Nintendo? Because personally, the Wii U was basically the Switch, and like it's but the Wii U had a dock, and you could like the Wii U is what the Switch was meant to be, and now we have the Switch, and instead of improving upon it, they're just beefing. It's the Switch Pro is like the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's just
I think it's fine. The Switch Pro.
Okay, so you're not disappointed that they're not going to go out and try something different?
I think they are trying something different on the back end, but they haven't released any information about it.
Okay.
Here's the thing that I've realized. So Switch Pro is going to be a better version of the Switch.
Yeah,
right?
It's going to be just an upgrade. It's like the PS4 Pro.
Is it going to support 4K?
Yes.
Through the dock?
Yep.
Through the dock, yeah.
Supposedly.
Well, supposedly. This is all rumors. We don't know yet.
But
now, I want to add something. Like, you know how TVs have upscaling with graphics?
Yeah.
So why can't the Nintendo Switch or other consoles use that feature of the TV to upscale it to 4K from 1080p?
Because
mine actually does.
Well, so I think the main reason that they don't want you to be able to do that is because they want you to want to buy the Nintendo Switch Pro or the PS4 Pro. Because if you could just upscale the one you already have, why would you go out and buy the new one?
Well, no, like I mean automatically, like the TV itself upscales it. Like the TV itself gets a 1080p source, upscales it to 4K. It won't look as good as like a native 4K. It won't look as good, of course, but still, it would still turn out nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think mine tries to do that. I haven't really tested. Sorry if it got really bright on my screen.
That was a little bit off topic with, I guess, the Switch Pro, but I wanted to see about that.
But yeah, so I think the Switch Pro is cool, and I think that it was probably supposed to come out this year. But I might be completely wrong about this, but I don't think Nintendo's going to say a damn thing about the Switch Pro until it's ready. Because Nintendo is a very traditional and old-fashioned company. I don't think they're going to announce it and then say coming soon, or what Cyberman, like coming when it's ready. Bullshit. By the way.
Just release, like they'll just have an add to cart button on their website.
Well, I think the Switch Pro is going to come out when they can actually ship as many units as they want to. Because I think the problem is, I think they originally planned for a revision of the Nintendo Switch to come out in 2020 or 2021, and I think they genuinely do have it prototyped out. I think they have the design down. I think they have the new specs ready. I think they have it all ready to go. They just can't make enough of them yet. And I don't think Nintendo is the kind of company that will release it if everybody wants to get it, can't get it.
Oh, so I actually think it will have 4K display. It'll have a Samsung OLED 4K display, I think. Okay. But it says it'll use DLS to upscale gameplay to 4K.
Okay, that's really cool. So I guess does the original Switch have an NVIDIA chip in it for its graphics processing unit?
Yeah. Let me double check which one it
is. So wait, is the Switch the only console that has an NVIDIA GPU rather than AMD? Because I know that both the Xbox and the PlayStation have AMD Radeon graphics.
Yeah, so currently the Nintendo Switch features a custom NVIDIA Tegra X1 processor and a 720p LCD screen and 32 gigabytes of storage.
It's also an ARM platform, so that's going to be kind of odd.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ryan understands like
But-
the difference between 64-bit and ARM processors.
So, but yeah, the 4K capability may only be in dock mode. I mean, it says
Yeah,
right here.
That's what I've heard. Because like, why would you want 4K on the Switch? That would just drain the battery. That would be overkill.
Who was it?
No, but
I
this will
know-
actually kind of do what I was talking about with the TV, where it'll be 1080p, but it'll upscale it to 4K using DLSS. I think the TV's like itself has upscaling to 4K. It's just obviously not as good as DLSS.
Yeah. I don't know.
What was it? Linus Tech Tips did a video on a handheld gaming computer.
Oh yeah,
the Aya Neo.
Yeah, Steam's also supposedly working on a handheld Steam console. If we're talking about rumors and leaks right now, like there's no actual evidence to really back that up, but supposedly it's going to happen. But let's go ahead and talk about Kyle. Say what you want real quick, and we'll transition to trailers.
This handheld gaming console that I'm talking about is a Windows platform, but it runs a Ryzen 5 4500U.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And it barely handles the 4K display.
Yeah, no, that's right. It does have a I watched a Review Tech USA talk about that.
Yeah, but if the Switch Pro, are they going to keep with the ARM architecture, or are they going to go to an x86?
I think they're going to stay with the architecture that they already have because
ARM is a mobile architecture.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's.
I wonder how that's going to handle out.
Yeah,
because like
they also have to be like in handheld mode. I think their biggest concern will be battery life. Because nobody wants to have like my DS could last like 4 to 8 hours on a single charge. Now, granted, DS games are not nearly as graphically intensive as Switch games are, but like when you're in handheld mode, you expect to be able to pick it up and play it for a couple hours before the battery dies. So if they have a power hungry CPU in there, that might take a hit to the battery.
Now, the reason why I brought that up is because, it could be 4K, but at that size, it depends on the pixels per inch. Like, it's 4,000 pixels, but is it going to stay the same size? Are they going to make it bigger, or what are they going to do with it?
Yeah.
Because I would rather have a 1440p at that display size.
Yeah. Dude, I think 1080p would be fine, because their current Switch is 720.
Like, this tablet right here, it's old. It's a 720p. It looks like dog shit. Literally horrible.
That looks
like
a Note
Samsung
1.
tablet. A what?
That looks like a Note 1. I had a Note 1.
Bro. I mean, they're almost. That's kind of depressing. This is like a Tab 3, I think. I got it free with my S4 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That resolution looks like dog shit because the pixels per inch are so bad.
Oh yeah,
my
okay,
Switch
I get what you're talking
way
about.
Way better.
Yeah,
that's what I feel would be better. Is I don't care if it's a bigger or a higher resolution display. I want better PPI, basically.
Yeah. I also saw a rumor, and once again, rumor, speculation. None of this is set in stone, but I've also heard speculation that the dock for the Switch could possibly have a more powerful graphics card built into it, kind of like an external GPU enclosure for a laptop. So when you're on your laptop, you're using the built-in graphics, but then you use Thunderbolt to connect an external GPU. So when you dock the Switch, it's an external GPU that then takes over to be able to unlock the capabilities of 4K at higher frame rates.
That'd be pretty cool.
So theoretically, it had Thunderbolt 3 on it.
Yeah. Now, who knows? We literally, as of recording this video on the 30th of May, 2021, there's literally no information about the Switch Pro other than it's probably going to come, but Nintendo hasn't said a thing yet. But some companies have started to talk about some stuff that's coming out, and with E3 and video game trailer season literally like next month, like we're about to see a bunch of new stuff from new games. So I want to talk about really quickly a couple new games that I am really excited for. And Kyle can attest to this. I'm a huge Ubisoft fanboy.
Nerd.
Controversial opinion. I like Ubisoft games. Assassin's Creed, for the most part, I enjoy. And Far Cry, I've enjoyed every entry in the season or the series except for Primal. I did not like Far Cry Primal, but that's just my opinion. But
I don't blame you. I mean, it's like me and my Assassin's Creed. I really haven't liked any of them until Origins, honestly. And my last favorite was Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like 3.
I liked Assassin's Creed. 3 was my first. Actually, no, 2 was my first Assassin's Creed game. Then I went back and played 1, and then I played 3 when it came out. And then Black Flag is still my favorite in the series. But Odyssey and Origins and Valhalla are all really good games.
Yeah, that's what it is. Valhalla is amazing.
Origins
was okay.
My problem with Valhalla is that it's just such a big game. It's one of those games where there's just so much to do. I've had it since it came out, and I still haven't beaten it yet. Like, I actually have a list on my phone of games that I want to beat before Far Cry 6 and a bunch. Because I have a problem where I buy a game, but then another game comes out and I buy that game, and then another game comes out and I buy that game, and I don't beat the games that I have. I'm trying to fix that. It is a problem because, like, I have Resident Evil Village. I haven't even played it yet.
So the game is so big that I actually stopped playing it because I got so tired of how long it would take to play.
Exactly. Like,
well, so isn't it multiplayer?
No.
Valhalla is not. There's not a.
No.
Unity is the only.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Was it Unity or
Unity is the
Syndicate?
only. No, Syndicate. No.
I think you're talking about Syndicate.
Assassin's Creed Unity. That's why it's called Unity. Unity is the only multiplayer Assassin's Creed game.
But it was also bad.
Yeah, I'm not into Assassin's Creed. So
it was also bad.
It was also bad.
Well, okay, Unity was broken when it launched. It's fun now. That's also I have Assassin's Creed Unity, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Assassin's Creed, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the list of games that I need to beat before new games come out. But as I said, we're right on the heels of the E3 season. We're gonna hopefully see at the Microsoft Bethesda showcase because a little thing happened since our last podcast. Microsoft bought ZeniMax. Microsoft now owns Doom and the Elder Scrolls and Fallout and Starfield. No,
wait, they own Discord?
That never happened.
I remember
they were thinking about it. Yeah, I was like, that'd be cool.
They're
but
actually,
also,
side note, really quick side note, they're putting Discord on the PlayStation 4.
Wow.
Why not the PS5?
No, it's gonna be PlayStation 4 and 5. Just more people have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, why put it on one, not the other? You can just.
So Discord's coming to PlayStation because, which this also contradicts what Sony's doing because Sony said, "Yay, crossplay! Add Discord to PlayStation, so people who are playing on PC could also talk in Discord to the people who are playing on console, which is cool. But also, Sony hates crossplay; they want you to pay to do it. Whatever. Sony contradicts themselves. I think like Sony's suits are the one who made the crossplay decision, but Sony's gaming division are the ones who wants Discord to come to PlayStation because I think crossplay. Because like think about it, PlayStation. I've never actually spoken to anybody in a PlayStation voice chat lobby before.
Oh, I have.
I was an Xbox kid, so I had like voice chat on my Xbox 360, and then I moved to PC, and we used Skype on PC before Discord came out. But like, I think it's really nice with crossplay that Discord is also supposedly coming to consoles because then everybody could just talk in one place. But
like, let me bring up a little point about that. I like that Discord's coming to the console because in Call of Duty, most of the time when we're playing, we're in Discord. We can't hear our teammates that are on console.
Nope.
Because we don't use team chat because it's always broken.
Well, it's either broken or I'm streaming and it's full of people saying words that Twitch does not like, so I can't do that live. I just disable voice chat.
Some examples.
You know what words I'm talking about, but
I need a live.
But like, I'm gonna go ahead and show. Have either of you seen the Far Cry 6 trailer yet?
Not.
Kyle?
No.
Okay, so I've seen all these
I was watching
trailers.
the Dying Light one.
Kyle, I know Kyle's excited about Dying Light. So Kyle's already seen the Dying Light.
Who's not?
Okay, but so Nick, have you seen any
That
of
was
them?
the reason why Ryan
I've
played
not
Dying
seen
Light.
any of these trailers.
Yeah, when I got Dying Light on my PC, the two of us played it together.
Yeah, I made you get it. I told you, buy it.
I'm like, okay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at Far Cry 6. It is a 4-minute and 36-second long trailer. I'm going to share my screen on Discord so they can see. So we're going to watch the trailer in its entirety, and then after that, I'm going to just start talking about things that play in the trailer, okay? Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and start watching. This is the Far Cry 6 reveal trailer, 4K.
Ooh.
Guapo, you listen. Rule 16. A guerrillero's revolution never ends. Always another war, another cantina, another ugly bartender.
Juan Cortez?
What do you think gave it away, Guapo?
This is a fucking waste of time.
Can you whistle?
What?
Nah, you can't whistle. Not bad, Danny, but we're just getting started. Rule number 1. A good guerrilla is a hidden guerrilla.
Muerto el perro, se acabó la rabia.
We lead our operations in secret camps across the country. Here, guerrillas live, train, and plan.
Small pack. We go in, grab our people, kill whoever gets in our way.
By smuggling in supplies, we'll add some piss and fire to our movement.
You got that right.
Camp chef, black market dealers. These safe havens got everything a guerrilla needs. Even do-it-yourself vehicles. You're gonna love it, Danny. Rule number 2. A good guerrilla masters their environment. This land is your home, Danny. I'm sure you know every inch of it. From the bloodthirsty jungles and postcard shorelines, to dead-end towns, and our friendly capital city. How you get around is up to you.
Good girl.
If you want to play it safe, take our secret paths carved in the dirt of old revolutions. Hola, Danny.
How you doing?
Or take a risk and operate in plain sight of Castillo's assholes. Go ahead and hide your weapons to blend in. Bribes,
What do you got?
sabotage, interceptions. You don't always need to be a loudmouth, Danny.
Christmas trees? Do you even grow those here?
Mexicans pay crazy money for this. How you think El Presidente funded Maria's new face?
Okay. Go through.
Rule number 3. Fucked up situations call for fucked up solutions.
Hey, he's not here.
You expected reinforcements? I got news for you. You're an army of one against an army of thousands. And when shit gets real, we make use of whatever we have. We call that resolver. That means absolutely everything from sardine cans, goddamn batteries, to old motorcycle engines has been built into equipment. And some very unique, deadly weapons. Now we're fucking talking. This, the Supremo backpacks. Handcrafted by yours truly. Each one will make you feel and fight with the power of a goddamn guerrilla army.
Give me lip, I'ma take it to the yard. Get a stick, make a switch. And end the conversation real quick. I am cracked, I ain't lying.
But you and I both know you want this. For a guerrilla that shit my pants rush of an ambush, the taste of sweet victory after you freed your people from tyrants,
It's fun.
Oh, and the final rule. A good guerrilla always brings a friend along for moral support.
Adorable.
So that is the Far Cry 6 trailer. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start about talking about this guy on frame. This is a dog. His name is Chorizo, and his play style is that he is so adorable he will distract enemies. So you use him for stealth. You send him in front of an enemy, and the enemy will go down and start to pet him, and Chorizo can bite him, and you can basically kill the enemy.
I love it.
So it's a dog in a
Game
wheelchair.
looks amazing. It looks beautiful.
No, like
Oh,
in
yeah.
terms of like graphical fidelity, it looks insane. So let's go ahead and start talking about some of the stuff I noticed in the first couple seconds of the trailer.
Oh, hold on.
Tanks.
For graphical reference, Ryan, pull up Far Cry 5's trailer real quick. Just so we can see the graphical comparison. I want to see the difference. Or New Dawn, either one.
It's like God, this
The
game only came
official
out 3
announced.
years ago.
The official announced by Ubisoft North America. Second
The
one.
second.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's just see the graphics of it.
We must atone.
That's a perfect scene right there.
Go back.
It's
Yeah,
it's
look at
so
this.
muted. The colors are so
Yeah.
muted.
Actually, you were right. The colors don't pop. And
No, they don't.
So I think there's an actual like reason for that. So
Well, yeah.
Far Cry 5 took place in a fictional county in Montana called Hope County, Montana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Far Cry 6 takes place on a tropical island, very much based on real life Cuba.
So would the comparison be better if we do Far Cry 4 or is it Far Cry 3?
Far Cry 3 would be better, but this game, I mean, already, I don't even need a comparison. It looks fundamentally better. Far Cry 3 came out in 2013.
The colors of it are so nice. Yeah, and like just the quality, it looks really good. Even though this is a 4K trailer, I mean.
Another thing I'm excited about is that Far Cry 5 and Far Cry New Dawn were both full-fledged co-op. I think this game's also going to be co-op. Now, there's a couple things
Far Cry 3 co-op be like.
Well, Far Cry 3 co-op was just like Spec Ops missions from Call of Duty. First thing I noticed, tank. I am excited. There's no way you won't be able to drive those tanks, right? I'm going to kind of...
Maybe.
I like how this place is called El Bar, first of all.
Another war, another cantina.
First of all, like the actual... I think this whole game, in terms of like the main cast of characters, it looks like it's all mo-capped. Like this looks like natural movement. But then here's one of the first companions we get. So Far Cry 5 had this thing called Guns for Hire, where you could have, there's a sniper, an African American sniper. I cannot remember her name. But then there was also you could have like Hank, and then you could have like Nick Ryan. He would drive around in the plane and drop bombs. You had Boomer, the dog. So the cheeseburger, the bear, Peaches, the Bobcat. Like there were Guns for Hire. So in Far Cry 6, they're called Fangs for Hire. And this is the first one we get. We have a fucking alligator at our disposal. And it looks like the way
it's a crocodile.
Crocodile. Sorry, I can't do this. But basically, you whistle, and just go and attack whatever's inside.
Holy shit.
That guy is fucking dead.
I think I looked away during that part of the trailer.
Yeah, and so... this right here, this is a perfect scene. It looks like this game might have third-person camera angles because there was a lot of animations in this game that are in third person because up until Far Cry 6, even driving your car was first person only. This looks like a fully fleshed out third-person camera angle. Now, I don't know if this is just like...
It could be like photo mode.
It could be photo mode. That is true. But
you know what I just realized?
I hope that Far Cry 6 actually has third person because in Far Cry 5 you can customize your character, but you can never see what they look like. Now with gunplay, I prefer to play gunplay in first person, but when I'm just fucking walking around, third person would be cool because then you could see like the shit you did to customize your character. All right, go ahead, Kyle.
I just realized why it looks so colorful.
Huh?
What was the last Ubisoft game that we all played together, or Ryan and I played?
Ghost Recon?
As of recent, I mean recently released. Not that we've recently played.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint?
No.
I don't know.
Watch Dogs 2.
Oh, yeah.
It almost has the same... Well, yeah, Legion. It has the same kind of vibe. Yeah, Legion, that's what it is. Yeah. It has the same kind of vibe where it's very, very colorful.
Well, I think that's also just the point of this game because this is supposed to be like a Caribbean resort island. Like it's supposed to be... Cuba's not a resort island, but the big part of the art style of this game is that you know how like Cuba was like a big stick in the Cold War and Cuba kind of just became frozen in time with trade regulations. That's why there's a big emphasis on guerrilla combat and reusing stuff like motorcycle engines because Cuba doesn't really get new shipments of modern things because of trade restrictions that were introduced during the Cold War. So in terms of like actual like, I mean Cuba's culturally they're just behind. And so this island it's like a fictional adaptation of Cuba in the sense of that it's a place that's just kind of frozen in time. They don't have a lot of new stuff, so they have to learn how to reuse their old stuff. So I think you're actually going to be able to like loot cars and stuff and like take engines off of vehicles, and that would just be kind of cool, you know?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's just like looting. I like to loot.
Grand Theft Auto color vibe.
Yeah, actually kind of. Yeah. So these backpacks are something that I will get to in a second.
Flame Chupa.
Here.
So there's another companion, by the way. This has been confirmed to be one of the companions. So it's a rooster, and it's a rooster that's used for rooster fighting. You see how this guy has one too in the background?
Fighting.
So it's literally cockfighting. And so this little guy, he's like an annoyance character. So he will like... Chorizo distracts enemies with their cuteness, This guy will distract enemies by just like
Being annoying.
pecking them and like being annoying.
Guerrillas live.
And it looks like, you know how in Red Dead Redemption you can play like cards and dominoes and stuff? It looks like you can play dominoes in this game.
Train.
And this Kyle right here, remember Modern Warfare? This looks like that R90 from Modern Warfare.
I was more happy to see them going back to the flamethrower meme.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look here at some of the guns. I think I might have skipped a little
Fire
too far.
movement.
You got that right.
Camp Chef. Black Market.
Okay, that is the first gun. So we got a Soviet Union. Was this a Soviet Union era gun? The RPD?
RPK.
Yeah.
RPK.
RPK. Yeah.
Dealers. These safe.
Look at this. So this is, and it's got a stock on it that looks like it's literally glued on with a drum magazine. And like, look at that suppressor. That looks like that's made out of an oil can or some shit. So it's got like the oil can suppressor and then a drum magazine and then like a.
That's definitely
it looks
an
like
oil
this is
can with
glued
something
on.
attached to it.
And then look at this.
Okay.
It's a sardine can sight.
Bro, I
with an
love
AK.
that. I love that.
It's amazing.
Is that a sardine can with a flip phone on it?
It looked like it. And then
Bro.
also vehicles. I think this vehicle model was in Far Cry 5. You can drive something like this in Far Cry 5.
Something similar. It was more angular and newer.
But like, look at that. Like, you got this Doom buggy with this like little thing at the front.
Grenade launcher on the side.
Yeah, you got this. This looks like just an industrial military vehicle.
Hummer.
But then this makes me feel like co-op's going to be in the game.
Bro, that's an old Chevelle.
Yeah, but look, you can't shoot that gun while driving it. So this is what makes me feel like there's going to be co-op in the game because the gunner's up here while you're driving. So they haven't announced co-op yet, but this also cracks me up.
You're gonna love it, Danny.
And it also looks like you can install nitrous.
This land is your home, Danny. I'm sure you know every.
I mean, like, just look at that scene. That looks insane. Like, I think the lighting and the colors, and I hope this game has ray tracing. Like, it has so much life to it.
I definitely think you'll have ray tracing.
And like, look at how lush that forest scene is. Like, this right here feels like Far Cry 3 because there was a lot of scenes like this in Far Cry 3. And I'm going to talk about something on its gun. I think there's going to be weapon charms because look at that right there.
Hey,
there's a little shark hanging off the side of his bow. So I think you're going to be able to have weapon charms.
Jungles.
Look at that. That kind of gives me Crisis 1 vibes.
Postcard shorelines. Dead end town.
But like one thing that, and I know a lot of game trailers do this, but like it looks like this place is alive. Because in Far Cry 5, if you're driving between like 2 points, there's not much going on unless you stop and there's enemies patrolling. But there's not like civilian population. Like Ghost Recon Wildlands is a great example of a Ubisoft game that feels alive. Because there's always civilians on the road driving. And then Breakpoint came out and like, what the fuck happened there?
Talk about that.
Breakpoint, yikes. But there's another World War II era machine gun. But this is so the villain in this game is played by Anthony Castillo, the same guy who plays the villain in The Mandalorian, and also in he plays the El Presidente. He also plays the bad guy in Breaking Bad. So he's an established, well-versed actor.
Oh yeah.
So I think Far Cry 6 is going to go to the same route that Far Cry 3 did with good villains, like Voss. I think the Castillo's character is going to be the next Voss. Because the actor who played Voss had a small portfolio before he played that, and I don't think I've ever seen him in anything since. But
Voss was my favorite villain.
Yeah, because Far Cry 4 is like Pagan Min or whatever the Far Cry 4 villain was.
Yeah,
it's forgettable.
It was different. I didn't enjoy 4.
I don't remember much about 4. Like, it's a fever dream for me. It was not as memorable as Far Cry 3 was. But this is Capital City, and this is something that Far Cry 6 is doing. There are very different biomes and environments. You can go from the beach tropical vibes to tropical villages to an actual Cuban-inspired architectural city. Like, this is a city.
Capital City.
So, literally, it's called Capital City. And this is another thing that makes me feel like there's going to be third person. Because look at this. You're riding on a horseback. That is a third-person camera angle. Unless this is from a cutscene and she's, like, looking over at the land or whatever. Like, I really hope this game has third person.
Take our secret paths.
And then...
Well, actual phone interaction?
Yeah, like, you're looking at a picture of something and you're trying to, like, follow the map.
Carved in the dirt of old revolutions.
But, like, this is another thing. this game has a huge emphasis on player choice. So you can walk around with your gun out, and later in the trailer, they let you holster your gun in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's going to be like detection where if you can't get like right up in front of somebody's face and be like this close to them and them not have a problem with you. But if you're standing like 6 to 10 feet away from them and you have your gun in your holster, like I don't think they're going to care about you because you're not a threat because you haven't drawn your gun yet, you know?
But if you draw your gun,
but if you draw your gun, they'll be like, "Oh, hey, no, none of that, please. I might have to kill you, good sir." And then you're like, "No, I'm going to kill you." Bam, and then they die, you know?
Bada bing, bada boom.
But like this also, like look at this. This is like an extended barrel. Like this looks like a barrel of like a fucking Mosin on a revolver.
How you doing?
Or take a risk and operate in plain sight of Castillo's ass.
Yeah, so that's what the trailer just said. Like you can take a risk and just go in. So I think you can play stealthy if you want to play stealthy, or you could just go balls to the wall, just fucking try to pretend like you're unarmed or whatever. And like here it is.
Hide your weapons.
Hide your weapons.
Bribes.
What do you got?
Sabotage.
But you can bribe, you can sabotage.
Exceptions.
Like
You don't know.
I don't know if this is
multiple
just
avenues to complete the story.
basically it's a play it your way kind of deal. It's like you can complete one mission, but you can go flying in on a helicopter, jumping out, killing everybody in your. And the way you could also
what Cyberpunk said they wanted it to be like.
Yeah, you could also go in stealthy, and you could also like disguise yourself as one of the guards. I think you can unlock that costume and just walk around in military camps and not get shot at. Like I don't know how this is actually going to play out in terms of end-game functionality, and I don't know if it's going to be a gimmick or not, but it looks like it could be really, really fun.
Always need to be a loudmouth, Danny.
Like right here, she's pretending that she's delivering Christmas trees, and this guy just lets her through. But one thing I want to bring up, and I'll use this freeze frame, is that Far Cry 5 and Far Cry New Dawn both did not have voice-acted characters. They were basically like everybody in the game was talking to you as the player. And Far Cry 3 had, what was Jason Brody, I think his name was? Right? Jason, I think it is Jason Brody. He was the main character of Far Cry 3. He was like an actual like voiced, flushed out protagonist. So they're returning to having voiced acted characters. And in Far Cry 6, it's already been confirmed. You can play as a guy or a girl. There's 2 different player models, and then you can customize them. And they're already voice acted, and they're already like, it's not like in Far Cry 5 where somebody sits down and talks to you, but you can't respond. So it's just like them talking to themselves because your player character doesn't say anything. It's very weird and uncanny in Far Cry 5. Because like, they're like, do you know what you did? And then not a word out of your mouth.
Silence.
And then like, yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Silence. Like it's just
Did
awkward.
I say anything? I didn't say.
Yeah. So I just think narratively, I think having voice acted characters makes sense. And I think the reason that they're doing it again is because it's kind of a disconnect when you're playing as a female, but you're a man, or you're playing as a man and you're a female. You can't really connect at the same level. People care about that kind of thing. I really don't. But like, you can now fully immerse yourself in the character. So
He's not here.
You expected reinforcements.
I feel like that's cool.
I got news for you. When shit gets real,
This made me laugh. I think this is one of the healing animations. Taking a hit from a cigar and then cauterizing the wound.
It has to be.
Because you know,
there's one just like that in Far Cry 3.
Yeah, there is actually. I
You
forgot
pull out
about
the burning
that.
arrow and you
We
stab
call that-
yourself with it to heal it.
Yeah, and so here's our first look of the arsenal of improvised weapons.
Ooh.
So we
Is
have
that a
Dude.
Is that a catalytic converter?
So yeah, it might be because
It looks like one.
there's a big emphasis on using items and making do with what you have. So
let me put this on
this,
ultra
I
wide
saw
so I
Nick
can-
laugh at this, but this right here is the gun that plays the Macarena when you shoot it. So
that's saw blade.
it shoots
that one,
literal
yeah.
CDs. It shoots CDs.
Oh, is it CDs?
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
a
it was
CD
like
launcher.
saw blades.
No, it's a
Oh.
CD launcher, and so you have a stack of CDs that you load into it, and then like the reload mechanism. Like, do you guys remember you could buy like a stack of blank CDs from like Target or Walmart or whatever?
Mhm.
Like it's like one of those stacks is the reload mechanism. So you put all the CDs on that like little plastic pole, and then they fire off individually. And
I like
so,
that giant capacitor on the side of it.
Yeah,
the one
so
with the 2 leads at the top side. That's pretty cool.
yeah, so this right here is the
Bro, is that a crutch for a stock?
yeah, no, it literally looks like you're going to be able to disassemble stuff and use parts. Now, I hope you can actually like make your gun how you want to make your gun. I don't know if there's a preset of amount of custom, like you can only put this item with this item to make this gun.
Bro, that's a nail gun. I just realized.
Yeah, but this right here, is the CD launcher, and you
Is
reload
that
it.
the-
It's powered off of car batteries.
Hey, Nick.
Is that the flamethrower to the right?
Yes, this is a flamethrower right here.
Then what's
Other-
on
other
the,
direction.
the right? Your left, I guess.
This right here. Actually, wait,
That
no.
one.
This is a
Look
has
at
a
the tank. Is it going through the table?
It is, but
Dude, who
Nick,
cares?
put your attention towards the machine gun.
Yeah,
It-
the
it-
one with the motorcycle engine.
It literally uses a motorcycle engine, which I think.
Yeah,
is
but that
really
looks like
cool.
a turbo on there
It does. Yeah.
for exhaust gases to
front
spin the
fan?
barrel.
Maybe it makes
Holy
it shoot
crap.
even faster.
Well, yeah, that.
But, like,
it
this
looks
right
like
here,
the exhaust is spinning.
This looks like a.
It
I-
looks like
I-
a catalytic converter.
I don't know if this is true or not, but this gun literally looks like a can launcher. Like you can load it with like cans of beans.
A potato launcher.
It literally could be a can because like if you have a CD launcher, who's to?
It's a Flugwaffe, buddy.
In Far Cry 5, you could shoot shovels at people. So
What the
I'm
heck?
not gonna rule out
Yeah.
the possibility that you load this gun with an actual can of food and fire the physical can at somebody. That would be funny.
Bro, that'd be funny as shit.
So yeah, maybe this is like a baseball, like tennis ball launcher right here, and then this is the
Yeah.
flamethrower over here. But then you have a crossbow, and then it looks like there's an actual like traditional like RPG right here because you got the handle and the little thing behind the handle. But then and then right here, this is literally a nail gun, a fully automatic like belt-fed nail gun.
That's awesome.
So and that's literally all I can really make out here. Now this is all speculation. We don't really know what this stuff is.
Yo,
but,
what the heck?
Yo, what?
Oh, I was reading about the actor that's voicing the antagonist in the game.
Means absolutely everything.
He's the dentist from Payday 2.
Yeah.
Sardine cans,
So that's the nail gun launcher. And there's the Wilhelm
Yeah.
string.
goddamn batteries.
And look, you're using batteries to recharge this gun. So I think this right here is a railgun, by the
Old
way.
motorcycle engines have been built into equipment.
You can blow up gas stations, by the way. That's a nice touch.
Just Cause 2.
So yeah,
type
this is
vibes.
the Macarena gun. So watch
Very
this.
unique, deadly weapons.
Hey, Macarena.
Wow. Those CDs must be going fast.
Now we're fucking talking.
So yeah, let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, so this game is going to have ultimates, and that's what these backpacks are.
Bro, that's
So
a giant stator.
each one of these
Holy
backpacks does something different in terms of like what they can like do. So this one, this is a jetpack. Not quite. We don't see this one used at all. But like I like how I can see like part of like an outdoor like folding chair as like the back of this backpack. I think this one's like a shockwave. This one might knock people
Like
down.
EMP or
Or an
something.
EMP.
It
or
might be
something?
an EMP.
But this one right here,
Or an electrical shock.
The
That is the
Supremo
explosives.
backpacks.
this
Yep, that's the
is a
missile
literally
launcher, or
a
mortar.
fucking mortar that you carry
Okay.
around on your back. Like what?
Handcrafted by yours truly.
So there's a flamethrower. So maybe that wasn't.
Each
a
one
jetpack.
will make you feel and
No, that's
like-
the jetpack.
But I don't think it actually makes you fly. You literally just squirt fire out all around you as like an AOE
fight with the power of a
because
god.
you just
Nice.
come right back down.
Well, yeah, he's not flying. He's sort of
But then
flying,
look
but
at
not
this.
really.
Guerrilla army.
A tank by. One thing that I hate about trailers is that they have not aimed down the sights of a single gun. They just hip fire. That's really annoying.
They did it with the nail gun.
You and I.
Yeah, that's the same alligator from before. And so it's confirmed there's going to be AKs in the game.
Want this?
Feed the pet.
For a guerrilla, the
Kick
shit
him out of
like
the
pants
car.
Rush of an ambush. The taste of sweet
So look, you can get in a tank. That right there is proof you
victory.
can get into a
Have
tank.
you freed your
It's a
people
Russian
from
tank.
tyrants?
You can. Oh, you can fly planes. Awesome.
Hey.
Boats, helicopters.
It's fun.
I'm so excited about this game.
They're gonna be
So-
good.
And the final
Do we have a release date for it or no?
Yes, October 7th, 2021.
Ooh.
Not bad, not bad.
But I know I said that we were going to talk about the Horizon Zero Dawn and the Dying Light trailer, but I just don't think we have time because we're already 2 hours and 10 minutes into this podcast. So the next podcast that we do will be in the probably the brand spanking middle of a lot of these new game trailers coming out with E3. So I think I'm going to wait until most of the trailers come out to actually talk about them on a podcast. But I really wanted to show you guys Far Cry 6 because neither of you had seen it yet. But from what you have seen, are you interested? Like,
It looks like it's gonna be a really
it
beautiful.
looks fun. It looks like so
I'm
much
gonna go
fun.
make my pre-order as soon as possible.
Yeah, you can already pre-order it on Uplay. But if you have Uplay Plus, I think you get it for free with Uplay Plus.
You're probably right. I'll check.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. We're finally back. This is going to be the longest episode we've ever done. It's almost like 2 episodes in one. We kind of got off topic a lot.
You
but,
gotta do it that way.
It's a premiere of Kyle finally being here on the podcast. So let me hide the browser source.
Kyle.
Welcome. Hi, we're back. Hi, you can see us. And whoa, I'm
Hi.
dropping frames.
Yeah.
But, what is going on with my? Dude, my computer's eating ass. But I'm at 2 frames a second. But who cares? Thank you everybody for watching. I'm Slideshow Ryan.
I'm Nick or Silent Telecast.
I'm Kyle or Space Knot.
And thank you guys for watching the GameVerse Podcast. Goodbye.